And once again, welcome to the Gem Collector Show with Shawn. I am the infamous Shawn. Hey, I have a lot to get to today. We didn't get to so many items last week, and on a couple of the items like that Uveribite, I'm going to re-showcase, so that one wasn't included. So if you saw a glimpse of that amazing Uveribite, I will be getting that to re-feature at maybe a next week's show, and be looking forward to that jewel. But I have something really impressive to feature for all of you. And, you know, for those of you maybe new or maybe haven't heard me say before, since I've been collecting since the age of 11, I'm over 64 years now, so old. So over that 53 years of time, I ended up focusing on kind of two types of collections. What I call my Made in America collection, which were specimens, gems, minerals from the United States. The second one was I featured my birthstone and focused on that, which of course is January. Not of course, many of you know that as an of course, but many of you don't. So I was born on my father's birthday as well, and I have my baby sister who has since passed away a few years ago. Her birthday was in January. So a lot of garnet memorabilia, so to speak, birthstone family in the garnet family to focus on. 6 different members, many different sub-family members underneath. Garnet, out of all the gemstones, one of the hardest, if not really that they have it, synthesized. Tourmaline is another difficult one, but tourmaline is not as many different family groups to focus on. And then tourmaline, for many different types of tourmaline, you have to have really specialized equipment to determine exactly what kind of tourmaline. Many of you discovered a new type of tourmaline altogether, foytite. Now, that one, I think, really opened up a lot of all of your mind to that you can have a new species by one of its elements being vacant. In other words, a normal elements as part of its chemical formula not showing up, so to speak, to create the tourmaline, yet it's still a tourmaline. So that was I think, a new type for many of you. There is a garnet, and like I said, as we go along and we get further into my personal collection, you're going to get to see items that have gotten better and better, or more unique, more unusual, and that is going to be a focus on part of today's show. I am going to introduce a garnet that we have been talking about, but that Shawn has had a special collection that I set aside that when I obtained these items years ago. And I decided now that I'm going to part with some of them. And don't fast forward. No need to do any of that. I am going to offer more than one of them. And you just wait and see. So anyway, let's get to the what am I's and the comments. And I first want to say again about last week with Miss Karen and Corduroy. Lots of fun. Miss Karen, thank you so much still again for allowing me to play in the mud and get those specimens. I, like your comment said, am still soaking mine, and will of course show everybody the end results when I'm done. I probably have a few more tools in my specimen preparation basket than you might have. Being a steamer could be quite important when used properly for that kind of thing, and also some particular chemicals that I'll let you do your own research on for that kind of thing. So I don't want to mess anybody's specimen up by saying a particular type of acid or chemical would work and not knowing or looking at your exact specimens. Who knows, it could have a big calcite crystal on it, and I tell you to use a particular acid, it dissolves the calcite away. So anyway, let's go. Starting off, speaking of Miss Karen in Texas, and I had sent her a message directly to her, thanking her, of course, for the specimen. So she writes back, oh, wow, and triple oh, wows. It seems Miss Karen's one of those people that I think I'd like to meet. It would probably be very conversational and very energetic. Shawn, I just read this, and I have tears of joy of your gratitude and friendship. I just hope there's something good in that box, as I really don't know the quality. None of us would. You don't. That's the fun about something that's covered and packed in mud. You don't know the quality until you just get down to it. That's fun. That's fun. Kind of like opening a Christmas present with lots of layers of wrapping. Hoping at least a few pieces are good. I packed it full as I could. Miss Karen, as the Raven says, there's no such thing as an ugly rock. And I used to think there was, but she actually said it right. And I agree. There is no such thing as an ugly rock. There's only such thing as ones that are more beautiful than others. Honestly, I'll send more if there's nothing good. I'll send not clean and full of that cake concrete mud. I'd like it that way. I'm a little behind on cleaning, and these are tough and require lots of patience. Yes, they do. I haven't done any further cleaning of the ones I showed you rinsed, LOL. Nothing LOL about it, because that is only natural for that type of specimen to take time. I know people from the Diamond Hill mine, and let me just move. See, right behind the top of my chair, that is a Diamond Hill specimen that my Quartz King friend Chet used to own that mine. And now it's pretty much just a feed dig mine. But that specimen that you saw, I had it for sale at one time, and I thought, well, that was crazy to sell it because it actually shows the 3 types of quartz. You have your clear white quartz, you have your orangish iron stained quartz, and then you have your black, which is more of a manganese oxide type stained quartz. Well, let me see if I can move enough. You see that white line? There it is, right there in that specimen, right behind my chair. You could take that's natural. So that white part, and that's why I like that specimen. And on the other side, it is quartz with the black staining of the specimen. So it's a double-sided with all 3 types of quartz you can find by way of color. But put in the correct, it's not even that strong of an acid, but the correct type of acid, and it will remove those beautiful iron stain coatings that create the orangish red color and the black as well. And what you wind up with is nothing but an opaque white, very white, but white quartz. What's the fun in that when you can have the natural look of all 3? So you have to be careful in when you're doing specimen preparation, because you might remove something that you can't put back on, or it looks better with it on, as I realized. Miss Gabby writes, greetings, GSN Rock family, one and all. And yes, that includes corduroy. Shawn, you would be such a great grandpap. I would. Are you listening, Shawn's son? LOL. That would be a good one, and I wish he was listening. And very proud of him and what the path he is on, which he'll be already he's pinned to become a lieutenant colonel and stationed at the Canberra Australian Embassy in a matter of only a few months. So he, I still see him as this young little kid, but he's a tough. I'm going to be a lieutenant colonel. I'm real proud of that, and he'll probably, could retire out at that if he wants or move on. We'll see what he decides to do, but he'll have his 20 years in not very long, and it's like, wow, where did that time go? So he and his wife, who is also career-minded now, I don't know. I don't think I'll end up to be a granddad, but we'll leave that alone. I forgot to tell you last week that I did find another nice crocoite crystal. So for those that don't know what crocoite is, those are beautiful orange crystals. And the first time around when I showed that, I showed it still at a discounted price compared to, listen to this. So this is Miss Gabby. She found a nice crocoite crystal. You can get those crocoite specimens that have those little thin, and I mean thin, like a little thicker than the width of a hair, these needles, inner beautiful mass of them. and it looks really impressive and very gorgeous, but that's not what makes a crocodile expensive and valuable. What does are single crystals going back old material decades ago. Remember, that's the one with the little sticker on it, 1976, and what I paid for it. I was 15 years old buying a crocodile crystal at 15. Now, how many 15-year-olds, what are they spending their money on these days? DVD, CD, I don't know, something, but not a crocodile crystal, that's for sure. Well, that crocodile crystal, listen to now what they're worth. The one that Miss Gabby saw was a single one, which are the desirable ones. It was 13 millimeters longer, but like she says, which is significant. It is significant. But it's not as significant as starting off at the length of the one that I had, which was what? It was over I forget the exact millimeters, but it was considerably long. So once you're at that length, you're in the very rare, desirable, collectible length. Adding the additional length does make it more significant and additionally rare, but she also says, but no thicker than the one she got from me, and no etching that she recalls. So in the older crystals, one of the ways they were well defined was in the end of the crystal, and it's actually desirable because it is like a timestamp on the fact that it is from the some of the original older deposits of the crocodile, which is where the big single crystals came from. So the one I offered was etched. It did have a hollowed out area in the termination of the crystal. And normally you think, oh, that'd be something bad. Not in the case of crocodile. That's something good and desirable, kind of dating the crystal, so to speak. Besides the really old perky box and everything else that it was in, and the date that I had on it really tells you two things: what a geek I was in 1976, and then the fact that it is just good old-time material. Now, here she closes with, no thicker than the one I got from you, no etching that I recall, and it was $2,400. Wow. I had offered that crystal for a very fair price of $388, if I recall, and just showing it again, not knowing how many people really appreciated it out there, I just discounted it into the upper 200s range, I think like $288, $100 off, which didn't or shouldn't have been discounted any more than the discount I was already offering, which was an amazing bargain at $388. Her finding that crystal, if you knocked off $1,000 for the 13 millimeters longer, which is not that, it wouldn't be that big of a difference in price for it just being that much longer. But even if you did, that puts it at $1,400. Okay, so that's what I was saying then at the $388, just what a good value that was. It might have been $348. I'm not exactly sure. It was $3 something, and then I gave, since I showed it the second time, a discount. I like to see that Miss Gabby or any one of you realized just what a good value it was. So, and I want everyone to do their research, like Miss Gabby did. So she looked around, and she certainly knows the sites for valuable pieces to compare to. And I can tell you this, her options for something even close to that were very, very limited, most likely. And the closest one she found was $2,000 plus more dollars. So I'm offering bargains, and for you to really appreciate them, feel free to try to find something comparable, like we used to say, go find another one, kind of sarcastically, meaning that you won't, there's not another one, to do a price comparison. So I'm glad to see that she did, because of course it does nothing but make my item seem like the value that I try to convey to everybody. But until you actually see it, something similar being offered by other well-known establishments on the price, you may not know. You can't always take my word for items, So I know I can't, and I'll reference back to those Galena geodes. So I'll bring those out another day. Okay, on the trivia. Now, here we are. We did the what am I? 7 pieces. I am going to read what everybody chose first, and then we'll show you what the actual items are. So Miss Gabby says danburite, then cavensite on stilbite, amsonite with smoky quartz, then garnet, then spodumene. Was going to say tryphane, which is the yellow spodumene, but I didn't see it. But you said a peach color. So, yep, spodumene, in other words, kunzite, can be in the peach color range. But remember, one of the things that spodumene, no matter what color it is, really gives itself away by being so trichroic, changes color with the direction you turn the crystal. So if you turn it down the C-axis, looking at it lengthwise, like kunzite crystals are found, there would be a strong change in the color. In the case of kunzite, it gets much deeper and richer pink when you look down the C-axis, the long lengthwise axis of it. Then number 6, she has as tanzanite. That was that stone that was blue that I put the light behind. Tanzanite also being very dichroic, changing color with the direction that you look at it, though. But one thing about tanzanite that you do not see is alluvial, in other words, rounded or tumbled tanzanite. All the tanzanite is comes out of a hard rock mine or a mine shaft, nowhere near the water. So unless I took a tanzanite and tumbled it, you wouldn't get that tumbled look. So it's these things you have to think about. So now, what blue stone can be found tumbled looking, in other words, which would be caused by an alluvial action, meaning water going down the stream, like so many gemstones are found that way. And then she has as the last one, fluorite, which is a great answer. That was that yellowish looking stone, and that had some banding in it. We'll relook at that. Best to all, Miss Gabby. Miss Cindy says, hello, Rock family. That was a fun show. Thoroughly enjoyed it. On the what am I, she has goshenite for the first one, whereas Miss Gabby had danburite. Cavensite on heulandite. Okay, so on heulandite, most of the time when you see the cavensites, so I'm going to go ahead and say yes, cavensite on, and the second mineral was for extra credit, so it wasn't necessary to get that necessarily right. But I've shown those before, and you should kind of know. They can be found on heulandite, but most likely it's going to be stilbite. And you can tell by the shape of the crystal when looked closely, which of course none of you could see. That's why it's kind of like an extra credit thing. In this case, it was stilbite instead of the heulandite. So, but getting the cavensite right, well done. Number 3, amzonite. Amzonite, yep. Number 4, spessartite garnet. So that was the pinkish looking one. Then number 5, that was, the octahedral crystal. Number 5, morganite. Number 6, azurite crystal. That's the blue, tumbled looking one. Number 7, glass on that. Love doing these things. Till next week, all. And remember that, and I've done it before, including throwing in a piece of concrete one time, and most all of you, I think, sussed that out as a something that wasn't, and that was difficult, I thought, and that you did real well on. Till next week, all. City of South Central Pennsylvania. Rock Mineral Show Saturday. This is the one with the more commercial vendors, so higher prices, but with some bargains to be found. Yep, there are always bargains at those to be found. On the lookout for dendritic opal. I saw some last year, and it was purchased as I waited to look at it. Be wise, be careful. There's a lot of dendritic cryptocrystalline material out there. In other words, not opal. Backlight it. If it has those little circular looking kind of formations, it's going to be dendritic chalcedony. You should have a UV light so you can see if it's dendritic opal AN, in other words, amorphous opal that could be fluorescent, that would tell you that that it's a fluorescent type of opal versus another type of dendritic material, which there can be a lot of other, dendritic agates. So just make sure it is opal. They won't let you do a hardness test, but against, if you had an opal and doing a hardness test, which is, in the 5.5 range against chalcedony or quartz, you can easily tell the difference and see if it is a less valuable chalcedony or agate. Okay, Miss Barbara. Oh, okay, let's see. No, here we go. Mr. Anthony in Massachusetts. Hello, all. I scored the turquoise eggs. I won't be able to stop myself from cutting one or more of the eggs. I've heard of different names given to turquoise with black matrix, like blackjack or the white buffalo. Can you shed a little light on this? Answers to the trivia. Number 1, he has his topaz. 2, cavensite on stillbite matrix. Number 3, blue Peruvian opal. Great, great answer on that as far as the Peruvian opal goes, because that looks very much like the blue Peruvian opal. Number 4, spinel. Number 5, morganite. Number 6, blue sapphire. And number 7, carnelian. So, doing really well there on those answers. And especially the number 1, saying topaz. I'm going to tell you right now that that is wrong, but the answer you had makes sense because of the similarity of the crystal system when I showed it from the end and the termination of it as well. So, good answer on that one. Now, Miss Barbara. Hi, Professor Shawn, Raven, GSN crew, and the whole Rock family. Vacancies. She's referring to that Voigtite formula. The only place that I can remember vacancies mentioned are as the cause of color in certain diamonds. Substitutions in formulas, yes, but actual vacancies, that's intriguing. And with our Voigtite tourmaline, we see it produce the very unusual structure of light blue needles that look like hair. Hope someone publishes an article. There was a recent article, in years past, done on Voigtite. There were like 2 authors I wasn't familiar with, but there was one, so I'll see if I can find a link to that. Editing gave us only a fleeting glance of a uvarovite/chromite specimen. Hope we get to see that one more fully. Yes, because the way the show got edited, there was only that glimpse of it. But I did go ahead and talk about you, Miss Barbara. You getting the one with the Shuskite, if I remember correctly, that rare mineral, that specimen, that was its type locality. I should have never sold. But good on you for getting it. As to the what am I? Number 1, another clear topaz with 4 sides and a chisel termination. Excellent answer. Too bad it's incorrect. Number 2, blue canvasite on stillbite. I'll go ahead and say that is correct right now. Gem silica in chalcedonite. Excellent answer for number 3. Excellent answer using the gem silica. Yep. I didn't think about that as a possible answer. For number 4, red spinel octahedron. Very good. Number 5, sunstone, Oregon maybe, or any andesine labradorite. That's for the peach-colored one. Number 6, bonitoite crystal. I'll tell you right now, I only wish, if that was a bonitoite that size, I would facet that and it'd be a $10,000 stone. Again, you have to go back to why is it in its tumbled formation. Bonitoite is never found that way. It's not alluvial in any way. And if anyone had a crystal, they would never tumble it and lose any weight. So you have to take in those other things when you are doing an on-site calculation as to a what am I, if you're in a situation, as I have been in many, many times, a on-the-spot buying situation, and I have to determine with whatever's in my pocket what something is. And that's why I carry all kinds of little tools that, as you know, from black lights to magnets to 2 wavelengths in 2 different flashlights of light, because I have been stopped publicly by being recognized, et cetera, over the many years. And you say, I've been wondering, can you tell me what this is? And it's either a ring or a pen or something. And I haven't been fooled yet that I know of. So age is going to catch up to me, though. Number 7, banded agate. Great answer for something that could look just like a banded agate. Saw my first crocus yesterday. Now I'm putting on my snow shovels away just yet, but with daffodils ready to pop, things are looking promising. Happy spring, everyone. Well, Miss Barbara, down here, yes. I guess they're called daffodils down here, whatever. Those yellow flowers, they seem to grow wild around here. You can have just fields that are mowed regularly, and they come up every spring in the middle of a big, beautiful field. And I guess maybe birds or something. I know they like have bulbs, but they get spread around even in the wild. You look back in the woods around here, it's kind of cool. But yes, we have all kinds of things blooming here, and I'm not ready for the warm weather. Do not like it here in Georgia. Penny, Miss Barbara in Brooklyn. Okay, so Miss Penny and Mahali. Hello, Shawn, the very lovely Raven, amazing GSN crew and fellow Rockhounds. I hope this finds everyone well. Trivia, my favorite game. It was tough this week. I hope I did better than I think. Number 1, you had as calcite. Number 2, cabinite and zeolite. Well, that's covering your bases. Very smart answer there. Just say zeolites. That covers it, and you would be correct in that case, whether it was stilbite or heulandite. Number 3, amazonite. So we already know that that's what that is. If I haven't already announced it, that is correct. Amazonite with smoky quartz. Number 4, spinel. Number 5, you have as feldspar. That's the morganite. Oops. The morganite. Yep. That's what the peach one is morganite. Number 6 is, she has as sapphire. Number 7, fluorite. Great answer on the fluorite, because I can see where you would get that. Fluorite is often into that kind of that color range, more yellowish though, and is banded. So we're going to look at that in a minute. Okay, so looking at your answers, very, very good. You did definitely admirably, considering that some of them were hard. Thank you so much for the trivia prize. I love little things like that, and I didn't have any bloodstone. So Miss Penny won last week, if everyone remembers, and got the bloodstone little bottle and the obelisk. It was wonderful to see corduroy again. How he has grown and changed in such a short time. He is a natural in front of the cameras, so comfortable and well-spoken, and a rock hound on top of that. Shawn, I think he'll be doing your job in no time. I know, these little whippersnappers. Wow, wow, wow. You can definitely tell that you are getting deeper into your prize collection. It is becoming more difficult to pick my fave of the week. The sphalerite, lepidolite mica, tourmaline are all in the running, but ultimately is a toss-up between the stibnite and the aragonite specimens. I think I will go with the aragonite, only because I have never seen such a sample before. No, that aragonite was one of a kind. That's it for now. Nothing new to report. We wish everyone a wonderful week and hope to see you next week, Penny and Mahali in Quebec. Yeah. Miss Karen in Texas stops back by and says, oh, when I saw corduroy, I couldn't believe my eyes. I had not seen him in your earlier video. I had only listened to you talk about him. I didn't know his age either. He reminded me so much of my nephew, Camden, the rockin' kid. So she sent me some pics, and oh my, Miss Karen, I couldn't put them up, but he looks definitely like corduroy in a few years. Sending a pic for you to share with Chuck and your crew if you so desire. I didn't reach out to his mom for permission to air, which is always kind of good if you do, but I'm sure she wouldn't mind. Cam was on several YouTube videos in 2023 due to his sports and school activities. We haven't been able to steal him away for weekend digs. Cam was 10 years old in the pictures. He was the luckiest. He felt sorry for me and would seed my digs. I love that. I love that. I felt sorry for you not finding anything and put some items in so you could find them. That's great. Guess he learned that from the YouTubers. They took to him like you have to corduroy. Oh, I snagged that Illinois fluorite in honor of my home state. There's a way to justify everything. Have a good show, Karen. There is a way to justify everything. Yep, there certainly is. And to get that Illinois fluorite, that was great, especially your home state. So I'm kind of curious because my son's grandmother, in other words, my son's mom's mom and family all lived in Decatur, Illinois. So I have been up to Decatur, Illinois many, many, many times. And I always joke about it. I don't think they like my joke very well, though, when you're up there, is they cleared out a spot in the middle of a cornfield and built a city. More like a corn oil processing plant in Decatur, but it is like in central Illinois all the way. There is flat land, flat, red, black dirt, and corn. No rocks. So when there's no rocks, there's no fun. Not for a rock hound. Okay, so let's see. Yep, that covers everybody. And all right, so here we have the rundown. Miss Gabby, 4 out of 7. Miss Cindy, 5 out of 7. I don't normally do this part of it, but no one did terrible. So, if someone did 1 out of 7, I'm kind of like, oh, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings or anything. But everyone did really well. So Miss Cindy, 5 out of 7. Mr. Anthony, 4 out of 7. Miss Barbara, well, except maybe for Miss Barbara. We'll have to put her on a curve. Miss Barbara is really smart, and I think she overthinks it sometimes. So she got a 2 out of 7. But that's okay because the answers on the one she missed were very well thought out. Miss Penny got 4 out of 7, and then Miss Karen didn't have a chance to participate. So let me see. Yep. Okay. So with the 2, we had to toss up between Mr. Anthony and no. Let's see. Wait. We do have a clear winner. We have a clear winner, and that looks like it is Miss Cindy has won the prize. Now, we won't show you what you won yet. Let's go and take a look at the what am I's so everyone can see what they got right and what they got wrong. Okay, so here you have the 7. We're going to start right here with the first one. So this is how I held it up, and I held it up so you could see the end because you saw that it was 4-sided. But that is exactly very much like a topaz crystal. And including the termination. But with the termination kind of slanted as opposed to centered, that's kind of a giveaway. That super clear white with the striated sides, topaz can have that. But this crystal, as opposed to a topaz crystal, there's a big difference. You almost always have a perfectly flat cleavage that topaz has, which danburite doesn't have perfect cleavage. You can see the striated sides on all the sides. So you'd have to, I guess, really know the difference. Topaz is the best wrong answer you could, for those of you that said that, you could have. I showed that only because I showed danburite, and you're going to get a chance to buy this in a moment. As I said, you would. It comes with a parcel of a couple other crystals. So I had featured danburite only kind of recently, so that's why I had picked that one, hoping that everyone would recognize it easier. Look at that. So there you have your amazing cavensite. One of my favorite mineral because of the way the name, hold on, my fingers here, kind of dried out. The way the name goes with cavensite, look at those. There's another mineral called pentagonite that is very similar. And so you have to watch for that because it can form along with the cavensite. Calcium, vanadium, silicon. Cavensite spells out exactly what it is made up of, and that's why it is one of the most appropriate names of any mineral because it actually gives real information that is useful versus naming it after, even though some of these, like professor of mineralogy, for a long time, might deserve something named after them. It's more appropriate if something they found themselves, if it's named after them. But like I saw that Herbert Smithite the other day, wow, that guy or whoever named it after his whole name and just adding "ite" to the end, I don't know. I think that gets a little egotistical sometimes unless someone else does it for you. Names should convey useful information. That's why there's a whole naming body that SIBJO that gets involved with that kind of things. So anyway, here is the next one. This is the one that could look like gem silica. It could look like so many other different minerals, but it is an obvious with the smoky quartz, to me, was a giveaway that it was amzonite because of the association with the smoky quartz. But there was other, excellent answers for that piece. But this is just a classic Colorado piece that's been actually polished. This one, because I showed it intentionally, featuring the octagon side of that, or the bipyramidal name. Let me get some tweezers here so I can. And it allows you to be able to know that it was a spinel by the shape of the crystal. So that is the real giveaway when you can see it like that. Yes, part of the crystal is missing on the bottom, but that's where you have to look past that, because not everything is perfect in nature. But when you see that, I have shown many and sold many other crystals like this from this area that you are known to be etched. So that is one, and you can see the four sides with the pyramidal termination with the etching. Really screams spinel for those of you that have any spinel crystals or have seen them featured in the show, between the etching and the shape, even if it's not a perfect crystal. This one fooled a lot of people, but some of you got it right as well. So if this was a like a spodumene, if I turned it down the lengthwise end of it, there would be a big change in color. I did turn this and pointed out right there. You can see, thank you, Latif, doing it on the camera work, following my, keeping it, getting it out of focus. Yeah, so I have the A team today, the A plus team. Asif on the graphics, Latif on camera. That combination hasn't happened in a long time, but I happened to come in because we have Raven working the Zeno show upstairs that she had to be in really early for to set up. So we have only one vehicle, so I had to come in with her. Latif had to do the same thing. He had to come in with someone else because his car was down. So it all worked out perfect for me to have the old team. That's what we were talking about. So Latif has actually been here, what, just a little bit longer than Asif, yeah? Mm-hmm. No, Asif's been here just a little longer than you. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit. What, 25 years, and you, what, 23, something like that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Asif's been here 25. Latif's been here 23. How many? 23 and a half for Asif. And you about 23. So Latif, yeah, came right in. Asif, director of production. Latif, manager of production. So number one and number two, and then you have the new guy, me, at 17 years here. And I was the new guy when I came in then. And against these two guys, I'll always be the new guy at 17 years here. But between the three of us, you're talking about many, 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 many years, and lots of experience these guys have. So I love it. Now, showing you those striations on the side was intentional because it tells you then which way the crystal is oriented, and that down the C-axis, it would be lengthwise like that. And that it being the peach color, it's actually facet grade, natural color, not like so much of this other treated morganite material. That's going to be for sale. Then this one, here's the one that stumped a lot of people. Only wish it could be a bonitoite. Look at that. And here's the alluvial rounded section. Now this part actually looks like that someone had started to facet or cut into it in that flat face like that. So that isn't part of it, but it being rounded like that, it certainly tells you that it would be alluvial. Therefore, it is not, wouldn't be a tanzanite. It wouldn't be a lot of other minerals. Let me show you if this one back like this. Look at the color. Look at the color. And that is facet grade sapphire. What a beauty. So I love it, whether you just use it for a specimen or whether you cut it. Look at the colors in that. That's some beautiful stuff. Now, so that's a sapphire. I think I've got that available for sale too. Look at this. This is the last one that, everything from fluorite to banded agate to carnelian, all those great possibilities. But when you look at it and look at the swirls, the not straight lines, and then if you look at the very top, here is a big giveaway. Oftentimes, glass or other things will have a seam in them where they've been poured. So you have this unusual little seam down the middle of it that might be from the mold of how these are made and created. But there is nothing natural to that except for the fact that it is made out of silicon and oxygen in the form of glass. So threw one in on you there, and I'm glad to see, even when you guys don't do well, that there are so many of you that enjoy this part of the trivia doing this. And it really is a very effective learning tool. And for both of us, I get to see kind of where you guys are at, and you get to see and understand where everybody else is at, and the other possibilities of something when you're trying to figure out what something is without having, you're only using two of your senses. You're using sight and sound from whatever I happen to say about them. So, which in this case isn't much. So you're using sight. I get to feature items I show you on three or more senses, which is sight, sound, and touch. And in the case of things like sulfur, smell, which is not often used many times for mineral specimens, but for certain ones, it can work. Okay, 7 items. Well done to Miss Cindy. Let's show you what Miss Cindy has won. I'll just hold this, but I'm actually going to, well, no, I'll tell you what, I'm going to include a stand. I am just going to move this a little bit out of the way, and look at this. Look at this. This is beautiful. Look at the colors in that, including purple. I know, I know. Please saying you're giving this away. Yeah, I'm having second thoughts, but I guess I can't take it back at this point. Here is the real kicker, Latif. It's the end cut. This is hard to find because of, you get to see the size of the crystal. Look at, since we just talked about striations, you actually get to see what is a labradorite crystal. Look at that. And then look at the colors from the end cut on that. Beautiful, beautiful colors. So that might create some trivia envy right there. I love it. You can put another coat of cheesy spray on it for a better polish if you want, or just leave it like that. In the window of windowsill, it's going to look amazing. Look how transparent that is. So, okay, congrats to Miss Cindy. That one is, oh, look at down here. If you thought that was a dead spot, nope. Look at, you got to turn it a different angle. Color right there as well. All right, let me clean up this up, and I'll be right back with the star of the show. As I said, some of those What Am I items are going to be available for sale. Here is one of the parcels. This is the one with the white base, the crystal, I think, that you looked at. That was the one, What Am I? Here is another crystal. Look at this. This has some nice facet. Oh, a large actual facet grade area in that. You see the termination. Look at the clarity to that. So there's a lot of nice working room if you want to cut that. And that is actually where they get most Dambarite, is from nice crystals. There's just enough of them to go around, I guess, that they can facet them. And to me, it's always a shame to bust up a nice crystal to cut a stone out of it, but they have to come from somewhere. So all 3 of those are in this parcel from the well-known deposit in Mexico of San Luis Potosí. And price on all 3, let's do this. Let's make it only $48. Only $48. And that's a bargain, especially when you can cut a stone out of one and the top of the other one. Item 125-5325. 125-5325. Now, this is where you get a chance on the sapphire that you saw, except there is an addition to it, and that is this other one as well. So this is what's really neat. Here is a black star sapphire. And I say star because when you look at it like this and you turn it like that, you see that golden reflection across there? That is the asterism, or what would become, if it is cut and oriented correctly, a star. Yep, that is this jewel right here. So we have the black star from Madagascar, and I mean the blue Madagascar that I'm getting ready to show you, and the black star. So look at that gem. Now you can see that it's not been terminated at both ends, which is a giveaway for sapphires that are from Ceylon. So this one, you can see also, look at that color. Look at that color. You can see the roundedness that where the crystal formation was part of before it got tumbled in the creek, and then someone has polished into it a little bit. Look at the clarity of that. So I don't know why they would have polished it, cut into it like that. There's nothing negative there. I see why it wasn't faceted all the way through, but it was the beginning of someone cutting it, and then they stopped, and then somehow, you know, like so many of projects of mine, I have also that are like that. They'll cut into it to get to see kind of what it is. Oh, I'll get back to that, and then never do. Look at that. That would cut a really nice, bright, wonderful. Yeah. No, that would cut, you know, and Latif, he facets gems. He needs to get back at it, but he has cut a number of stones himself. So has that experience that really makes a difference. Look at that. That would cut a really nice stone and would really brighten it up. So anyway, here is a pair of gems, and wow. I know Latif is going to give me a hard time. $48 for both. $48 for both. Of course, that one blue sapphire would cut a gem much more valuable. But if you're just collecting for your collection, what a wonderful 2 pieces of rough. Hold on. Where's this blue coming from in this piece? If I put light behind there and that's blue at that one, I'm taking this back. Do I dare, or should I just not look? I know, I do too. I hope they're not both blue. Oh man, that would be. Yeah, I've done things like that. Oh, I see green. That's not usually a good sign if I want it to be all one color. That's left. Yeah, I'm going to leave that for someone else. I don't want to find anything else of value in there. I have a feeling that is more unique than I think. So look at that. Those are a wonderful pair to have some fun with, either for the collection or for those of you that cut. Here we go. Now let's look at. Oh, okay. So for those of you that have been wanting rough, and we have some clients that don't really post, but that have stated in comment section on the YouTube section that they wanted to see some more rough. Well, here you go. In the case of the Dambarite, there's a stone to facet out of those. Certainly the sapphire material, and item number 1255225. 1255225. This is from the Oricum claim in Brazil, and this is the peach. Look at that peach morganite, and you don't get to find rough morganite often, and certainly not affordable. Look at that. Look at those colors. These are natural colors. This isn't after it's been irradiated or anything like they're doing to a lot of that material. And you can see how much facet grade material is in there. I even see some pink in peachy pink at different angles. So if you ever wanted to cut a nice crystal of, oh my goodness, or leave this alone for that right there. Wow. I did not see that very unusual iris in that. That is just, here's another crystal face here. So that's unique. That's unique. That would be something to consider, keeping it like it is for that alone. It's not your standard looking iris. Yeah. So anyway, I have it up there, so I have to offer. It's 20.12 carats, untreated natural. Yeah, I know. We look at that. Yeah, so Latif has come right up to the screen looking at it, and yeah, I know. See, it's not like it's coming from a chip or a fissure. There's a little down back here too. Yeah, I know. It looks like some of that playa color feldspar material from Australia that I brought in. Look at this now. Look at this, Latif. As I turn it this far, look at how deep that goes. It does. It does look like it has an opal in there. Look at that. Look at the purple in there. You know, so there's some reasons why I'll look at a specimen I have and find something like this, and I wonder, it's like, wow, why haven't I done anything with this or cut it myself? Or so, oh, I guess I'll just offer it for sale. Well, you know, 20 years ago, I might have looked at this. I don't remember, but maybe I saw that in it, and maybe that's why I've just kept it for myself all this time. Then all of a sudden, I have it here, show it on this 5-foot TV that there were no such thing of 20 years ago, basically, and get to see it. Look at that in a whole different light, pun intended. That's kind of really cool, actually. Really cool. It's just not something I've seen in barrel, but with the crystal striations in this, it's what also tells you that this is a real natural stone right there. That's beautiful. I'm going to offer that for only $58. So whether it's a specimen or whether you cut it, there is certainly a lot of value to be maximized from that if you look at it in that kind of way as something to make money on. Item number 125-5125. I used to have a business partner that this wasn't his hobby. So everything was a commodity, just something to be bought. Yes, sorry about that. Something to be bought and then sold. Item 125-5125. And that will bring up, look at this. Look at this. Here it is. That's why I said the what am I's, a lot of them were going to be for sale. So getting a little bit of extra use out of featuring them that way. Now, this is, again, a crystal I've had for a long time. It is from the Mahenge deposits, which are world renowned for the pink and the, you know, beautiful, beautiful spinels. Also for the etched crystals, which you can see, this one is the case. Now, you know, I'm sure there's some little stone to be found if you want to facet it, but this is a incredible specimen. Look at the iris in that. Maybe I had an iris collection and didn't realize it. Look at, so here's a really nice way to view that crystal. And let me show it in my hand. You can actually see just how large that is. So that is a, I know. Wow. Years ago, I had some of these that were really, really large, and I sold them on the show. The value of them, is so far exceeds what I was selling these things for. So this is pretty much at the price that it would have, I would have sold this. I don't know what I am doing. No wonder I failed in retail, because I just never knew how to make a profit. $48. It seems to be a $48 day. Only $48 on that, and at 16 carats, that's $3 a carat. You don't really view specimens like that, but I can tell you for $48, there you just don't find anything. Also, look at that. There's something unique right there, which I did not look at or determine what it is, but it is something that needs to be ciphered and figured out, because it's pretty interesting from right here. Then let me see, was there anything else of the what am I's I'm offering? No, we're going to get right away to this incredible display item. Item number 125-7825. 125-7825. Look at this. You don't have to know amethyst too much to know when you see this that it's Uruguayan. Uruguayan, which, you know, Brazil would like to say that they have some of the finest, deepest colors. Well, it's true. Brazil has every color that Uruguay might have, but it's not pretty much across the board. Uruguayan amethyst, universally overall, the amethyst is a much finer, better color. Brazil, you can find everything from the super light color amethyst to the rich colors, but in Uruguay in general, sorry about that. Here we go. Sorry, I should have. 125-7625. I hope I didn't see. See, it's the 8s and the 7s. Did I say that wrong again, Asif? Did I? I am so sorry. Okay, so that's what messed us up last week was I'm messing up my 6s and the 8s. The loop, I just have to do this to show you. Yeah, that's enough. Well, it's zoomed in right now. With my regular eyes, the loop looks closed to me on those. So I'm messing up. So I'll make sure, since it cost me a bunch of money last week, that I don't do that again. All right. This has, sometimes you'll find little calcite crystals. I don't see any right off the bat, but it can be looked at closer. And what happens is the Uruguayan amethyst is not found in the amygdals like it is in Brazil. So in Brazil, it's found as in pockets in the basalt. You have these air pockets like you do in a piece of pumice that the silica then percolates through and over time fills in and grows to crystals. Well, you can dig them out because they have the basalt attached with them, different than the Uruguayan material. The Uruguayan material, also the Brazilian material, has a layer of celadanite on the outside, often greenish color. That's not the case with the Uruguayan material. The Uruguayan material, when they cut it out of where these pockets are found, that's exactly what they have to do. They have to cut it out and create a backing for it. I mean, this is all natural, but in other words, this could be one little pocket and have many feet of material around it that has to be removed and then this shaped to fit how the amethyst is. They often have also, though, the crystals, the cathedrals up to 12 feet tall and some amazing material. So they are capturing this color about exactly the way it is. And also to recognize Uruguayan versus Brazilian. Your Uruguayan material, the edge is often going to look just like this. Just like this. So kind of remember this. There's not going to be a big agate border that you see. And I'm talking in generalities. Of course, it could be always the exception. But this is what you'll see. You'll see this color rind, this kind of greenish layer, this kind of, it looks exactly like this. And when I saw one after the other that looks so similar, it's like, okay, that's one way I can recognize what is truly Uruguayan and what not. This is actually mounted with a, probably a marine epoxy. It's what I like to use for a permanent type of epoxy. Of course, you can break this off of it if you went, or cut this off with a saw blade if you want to remove it from that. But I think it's really neat. You can, it's not like goop. See, it's not going to come off. This is just a wonderful display item. And the mount and all that you see, I'm offering it for only, I don't know, a bargain for Uruguayan. How about this? $97. $97. So 97, isn't that a prime number also then also? I think so. So that is going to, for Brad and for me, it covers the auspicious end of the pricing with the 7, and then it is also a prime number. Isn't that right, Latif? Okay, 97 is a prime number. So that's what Brad's idea was. Oh, okay. So, because I've been using auspicious numbers, 8s and 7s, right? Try using prime numbers. So in this case, it would have been $98, but wanting to switch to a prime number, it's saving everybody $1 using Brad's idea. 97 is also a lucky number. So here we go, $97 on that. That is a, look at in my hand, how pretty that is. That is a beautiful value. You can also, if you wanted to take it off the stand, wouldn't that make a neat candy bowl? I bet he has a real fast way of doing that. Awesome, you're terrible. Awesome, you're terrible. Everyone's going to wonder, and I cannot tell you what that. Awesome, my face. Look how red my face is in the preview. You embarrassed me. You embarrassed me. Latif had to go outside the door to laugh. I'm laughing enough for you, Latif. Okay, a little bit of an inside joke there for everybody, so I better change the subject here really quickly and get to another related item. Oh, there was a comment from a couple of weeks ago, Asif, that I didn't read because time had passed in between the two. But in the comment, it said how much they enjoyed the banter from Asif and Latif when they enter the show in conversation. And as I've said, I've always enjoyed that addition because most all the times it is something that makes me laugh. Now, I am going to show something that many of you might be familiar with, but you've never had a chance to get your hands on a specimen like I have. This is, since we're talking about amethyst, this is a Ooh La La 125, 65, 25, and that is a 6. I am going to loop that 125, 65, 25. And wow, I think, Latif, you're going to like this. So let me just pull this over a little bit. Excuse my reaching so I can show this. All of a sudden, swap one amethyst. Yes, it is. It is truly grape amethyst. Now, you'll see this advertised, often seen as grape agate or grape chalcedony, but it has been officially determined through chemical analysis that it is amethyst. So it is not an agate. It is not a chalcedony. What it is, if you cross-section these, you actually see what looks like something that would look fibrous nature to it. It kind of like you'd find maybe in a malachite or something, but chemically and crystallographically, ooh, that's a big word, and I got it right the first time I said it. Crystallographically is amethyst. And cryogenic? Trans. You heard about that? I'm afraid to. No, tell me. Didn't work out too good. Oh my! I better stay away from that one. What? Yeah, we'll stay away from. Oh really? Transgenic, which is something they're trying to do for humans. For not to make them transgender. Right. Wow. So you went on there for transgender? I didn't. I didn't. Well, no, go near those certain words. Certain words, unless it ends in "ite," Meaning is altered. That's all. That's all. Yeah, altered. Chemically, you can alter a lot of different mineral specimens, and they become a different mineral, even though they may have the same chemical formula. So, agate is SiO2, silicon dioxide. So is chalcedony. So is tridymite. So is many other, I think there's 7 different varieties of silicon dioxide. Some man-made, others naturally formed. And like the chatelierite. Wow, I got that one right. Which is the glass that is formed on the inside of fulgurites. Not on the outside, just that glass part on the inside. So this specimen, you can see, actually comes with a label. And fix me up, which might actually help the color of the amethyst there as well. Here we go. So this actually was labeled as chalcedony grape agate. This is an older label that has not been updated. It is from the Indonesian, this is the deposit that is, all the grape amethyst you're seeing in the world is coming from this deposit, this region area. Now, as I turn this, you can see, look at that fibrous reflection on it, just like you see from malachites. And look at, these are genuine. I think we had a question from one of the comments months ago, if these were actually real. And yes, they are. It is a relatively new deposit. And this particular specimen I chose because as you can see, there is the incredible spheroids. Some of these are barely attached, but have still formed. Look at that. I mean, it is barely attached to the, well, you can't call it matrix because all this, every bit of it, are these amethyst spheroids. And that, as far as I could tell, there is no place that this was attached. I can't see where this was broken off of. I can't see where this was removed from, a larger piece, anywhere. You might think, okay, well, maybe right here. Well, no, when you look closer, there isn't any way that this and all that could, and when you look at it really close, you can see that there is no breakage along this edge. It's just a whitish, lighter color. So there we go. Look at that, perfect. That in picture answers what I was saying and proves in words. These are little spheres on the edge, not a broken edge. Look at some of these. So this is a floater, which is extremely rare and adds value because this was formed on its own in the pocket without it being attached, great camera work, to any other part of the pocket. And so it floated freely, and why it has the spheres on every side. And like I said, it does not fluoresce. It's not a chalcedony. Look at that. It is been determined it is actually amethyst, adding a lot of value to this piece. But I bought it as still originally what everyone thought they were, which was like an agate or a chalcedony. Not the case. It is genuine, real deal amethyst. Wow, that camera I love. We also changed the lens on the camera down here, and the depth of field along with the phenomenal clarity is giving me a look that I have not had before. This is
Making you talk longer.
this. Okay, guys, I'm just gonna quit. I am. If you didn't hear that, Asif said, yeah, it just makes me talk longer. I mean, Latif said, it didn't matter. Asif was thinking it. I can promise you, Asif was thinking it. It used to be that they could talk to each other and they had an earphone. And I know stuff was said from the control booth to the camera operator, which doesn't happen now. They just are on the same wavelength thinking, you guys are a mess. Okay, yeah, it's beautiful. I can't help but to look at it. And I have it at such a good price, I need to just move on because it is worth every penny. It's the only one I'm going to feature. And now listen, let me make sure all of you realize this is just not your regular piece that you might find on the internet or somewhere else. No, being a floater is important in one aspect. Having those, do you see any real damage other than, no, all these are in X, right, and the chalcedony. This is an old label, so this is not even an updated label. I'm going to include it just because of where it says it's from, but the chalcedony is in, you can see they didn't know what to call it. They didn't know if it was chalcedony, so they're kind of shotgunning it for the name. Chalcedony, grape agate, but to get it really right, they just need to put amethyst. It's not even botryoidal, they're more just spheroids, almost complete spheres. Let me just get a little pointer. I mean, some of these, you just wonder how they're attached, and when you look close, they are, how nature did this is phenomenal. Is phenomenal. And the look at that. Oh my. I would not have noticed. That is a little calcite crystal right there. You can see it is a little dog tooth, scalenihedral calcite, I would say. And I did not see that before. That camera is doing the trick. Look at that. It keeps focus through so much more depth. Yeah. Austin's been ripping me off all this time, man. You're not giving me the good stuff. He knows. I know better. All right. Let me just put up a price so I can move on. I can stare at that. That is a true work of nature. And I am parting with, this only was found, like I said, well, within the last decade. So this one, only $148. Only $148. And wow. Don't just go get anyone. This is a particular one that is worth well beyond that. You can see because it has the great formations all the way around. No matter which way you turn it, it is beautiful and has a nice blending of those colors. And it shows that micro suede look that they came out on furniture. See this little, as I turn it, just like fibrous malachite. See these little, you see that motion across the surface? That is, when you look at the surface really close, you'll see it is made up of little tiny crystalline faces. Okay, only $148 on that. All right, now let me show you another gem I'm parting with. Item 125, 6425. 125, 6425. And this is another beauty. And let me get all the goodies to go to it. Okay, check this out. Check this out. Talk about something that grabs your attention. Look at that multi-generational growth. Now, I'll show you that. And this comes also with a label. And let me get that out for a moment. And from the Katanga Copper Crescent. All right, so I'm just going to put that away so that again. So, you know, that when you say Katanga Copper Crescent and you look at what the meaning of that is, it is a geological formation that is in an arced curve, and there's many different mines along that curve. So they just use the broad Katanga Crescent, Copper Crescent, to cover all of them because it's pretty much one nonstop deposit with different mines along it. Now, let me get my pointer because if you, I don't normally do this, but this is just going to be real quickly. On the cover of the latest Rockin' Gem, let me just show you. Here it is. There it is right there. Okay, that is azurite and malachite. And those are copper minerals, and you get those incredible formations. Well, chrysocolla and malachite are present in this one, which is chrysocolla, of course, you know from gem silica. Chrysocolla provides the copper ions for a lot of coloring in other minerals. This is multi-generational. Now, let me show you. From, oh, that is me. Okay. Yep. Oh, it's not my phone. This wire was twisted around. Let me set that out. Okay. Look at these little tiny lighter color, little dots that you see all over. Well, that is actually a chrysocolla formation that came in at the very end. Look at even back in that pocket. Now, but before that, let me show you as we spin this around, you're going to get to see, look at this. When I pick specimens, I like them to be as many-sided as possible for featuring a piece. In other words, you know, having more than just one display side. Now, when we get through this, you can see there's some of the very desirable, often shiny, wet look to the chrysocolla. This is the black, often is heterogenite, which is a cobalt mineral. And now look at the layering here. That becomes important. Look at the veins here. We're going to talk about this in a minute. And as we come over here, this is an entire other side. So there is every side as I spin this. Look at this. And then this would be where it was attached to the wall. Now, look at this. See, you didn't even see this portion. Look at that. And all those little dots represent another stage of growth on top of the existing chrysocolla. Now, let's start with what was probably the beginning, which personally, I'm not actually sure what that really dark material, it could be an azurite. It could be azurite. It could be a marker. Yeah, it could be a Sharpie marker where Shawn slipped, as he's so famous for doing.
Really sharp.
It does look sharp. Wow. I'm going to have to go out the door and laugh at a moment myself or turn my mic off. Okay, you're going to blow my train of thought. All right, what you can see here are many layers of, what came first, and it's often able to tell from looking at it from the edge. But from right here, you can see multi-stages of layering. You can also see the very rich color of chrysocolla. Then you have malachite, and then you have another layer of chrysocolla, looking at it from this angle. Now, let me see. When you look at all these little voids or pockets, there is crystals going all the way back in them. It's really neat. Here we go. Let's just say right here. What you have is a layer of chrysocolla, that wonderful blue color chrysocolla, which you saw right there as well. Then the next layer, you have a layer of malachite. You can see the malachite and the fibrous nature of it right here along the edge. And then on top of that, afterwards, you had and have a layer of chrysocolla. Chrysocolla on top of malachite on top of chrysocolla. Then on top of the chrysocolla, you have one or two additional layers depending on where the specimen is. So all these little dots are another layer of chrysocolla. Here is where you have a little either spot where it grew against the wall or where the came off of it, and you can see the malachite right there underneath it. So that's kind of cool. Here's another place where you can see the many stages, starting off with blue chrysocolla, then malachite, then in this case you have another layer of blue, and then malachite, and then so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different layers happening there, not counting the extra little dots all around it. Look at how portions of this have that amazing wet look. So here you have that wet look chrysocolla, and then another layer of a different color. And then, yeah, these I thought like were wear spots, like if you rubbed your hand. No, it's just the different growth layers. It is a fascinating piece between the multicolors of chrysocolla and the malachite, and the fact, let me show this in my hand and give you an idea of just how large this is. So this is look at that, very impressive, very showy specimen from the Katanga Copper Crescent, and really shows well. That's a nice display angle. That is a great angle there. I actually like showing the layering and that rich, rich blue color to the chrysocolla right there. This is a very stunning piece, and one I can offer extremely reasonably at only, this is really reasonable. Really, really reasonable for what this is. $128. Yeah, only $128. That is a treasure for someone to get in on. Beautiful piece. Okay, I'm going to show you next something that this is a treat, and in every way. You know my favorite stone, as it's listed in under Meet the Hosts and underneath my bio, so to speak, on the Gem Shopping website, and it talks about my favorite stone is opal. Not only my mom's birthstone, but it's my son's birthstone. Isn't it funny? Garnet is mine, and it's one of my dad's birthday, which is garnet. So between opal and garnet, it covers my family. So mom's birthstone was opal, my son's birthstone is opal, and it was before my son was even a thought. I was took specialized opal cutting lessons, and by the time I was 13, so in Sarasota, Florida. I love opals. No two opals look alike, and any synthetic version of opals I can easily spot, so it's very difficult really to create an effective synthetic, unlike lab-grown diamonds, which, look, yeah, we don't talk about that. So get ready. 125-7425. 125-7425. I have something here. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, I wish this was blue opal. There is such a thing. Very hard to find, but what I was able to find and still have is, look at this, pink opal. Look at the two colorings. Isn't that beautiful? Look at Mother Nature. Look at Mother Nature. That's amazing. This is the Peruvian pink opal, and it won't be long, and there won't be any of that material to be found, because The blue material is already pretty much impossible to find. You can only find maybe some items that have been cut as beads or polished, but that's for the most part gone. Now, the pink opal, there's some special things about the pink opal. A lot of you don't realize 10 to 40% of the pink opal is a mineral called palygorskite. Palygorskite, now, is a magnesium aluminum silicate, or let's say hydrated. In other words, it contains water. So 10 to 40% of your pink opal has palygorskite. Now, palygorskite tends to run white. So in this specimen, you have actually layers of white. Now, it's not going to be all palygorskite. It's going to be a mix. And depending on the pink color, actually comes from organic material. I think the name was quinones, depending on how you pronounce it. But it's just like mookaite in Australia is formed from radiolaria, which are tiny microscopic silica type, like diatoms, like diatomaceous earth. And it is their little silica bodies left behind that forms different minerals. Well, it happens with silicified material. In other words, silica material. Same thing that you get in this opal. You have silica and oxygen, and palygorskite is the other portion. It's a fibrous mineral, and it's often called mountain leather when it's found by itself. It can be flexible, and it's a really bizarre type of mineral. If you're not familiar with it, become familiar with it, because you may not have ever heard of it before, but it plays a big role in pink opal. This is an amazing specimen. Cristobalite. Cristobalite is one of those other minerals, other varieties of silicates that you may have heard of. It is found in snowflake obsidian. That is what the snowflakes, the white part of snowflake obsidian is cristobalite. And that you can find often on the outside portion of it, as well as just pure palygorskite, not associated with the blending of the opal. And you can find crystals or spheroids of palygorskite. And as you look at this, and you look at it closely, this surface just isn't any regular surface. A lot of people would overlook at it. Look at it with magnification, and you're going to see that it's going to be more than just a coating. You're going to actually see there's cristobalite in there. And if you find some neat bipyramidal or pyramidal form crystals, that's going to be more of your pure cristobalite. So this is a fantastic specimen. There's a fantastic cutting grade material in here. And whether you use this as a specimen or cut it, that's perfectly fine. It's perfectly acceptable. This now they're calling my rocks mold. Mold on top of layers of mold. Oh my. It's a flesh-eating bacteria. Gee, awesome. I might as well, use the R word on it, which I did. I did check it, though, because of its formation. I did check it for radiation, and it's all safe. So it's from the Akari mine, which is the only real mine producing this material. The Akari mine is outside of a major copper deposit. So that's where some of this material can be found. Peru is a country full of mystery when it comes, full of Peruvian, when it comes to mineral specimens. Price on this, let me get to that. Okay, hold on. He's gonna just run me right off the road and my train of thought. $88 on that. Only $88. Let me show you the next one. Item number 125, 7525. One. Huh?
That might be sort of like plate.
Oh, palygorskite. Yeah, now it can be spelled P-O as in many, And I looked, and it was actually named after a person. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was so. It's not something I was totally familiar with, but it is of fibrous nature. And here you can see some of that fibrous nature. And when it forms just by itself, and they nickname it mountain leather because it's flexible in its fibrous nature. Here is some pure polygorskite right there. And but in general, the opal itself is 10 to 40%. You can see how it intermingles with it in its pure form, but it also 10 to 40% of this silica opal itself is palygorskite as well, because of course it is a magnesium aluminum silicate, so it is somewhat related. Just added magnesium to it. Price on this. Okay, so let's look at item 125 7525. Here's another piece I am offering. It is bigger. It is, look at this. This is a major specimen that is a impressive size and a lot of beauty, because look at this. Okay, now here you have, if you look at this pocket and you see these crystals, well, you know opal AN is amorphous and it doesn't form crystals. This is where this pocket is going to be druzy chalcedony, or it's going to be a druzy quartz. It's going to be more of a silica that is crystalline. Look at that. There is my cat's hair. You have in this specimen, look at this. Here is really cool. But again, you're saying you see the pink and crystals. Well, opal doesn't form crystals, right? Well, no, it doesn't. But if you look closer, look at the lining. Look at how this is lined. See? So it is not your straight pink opal. You have that little edge. That is what gives you the druzy nature to the crystal. So this is either a chalcedony or more of a silicate quartz. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that. And then again, you have this down here. That is so attractive with those bugs like that, with the druzy. Then, of course, you can cut huge cabs. Now, this is what's really beautiful. Look at this botryoidal formations you have in this particular specimen. You can see the banding in here. So this is where you have your chalcedony, and I checked for fluorescence. There is shortwave fluorescence to some of these specimens, and it's beautiful. You can spot what is what with by way of shortwave fluorescence. Now, as we spin this around, you can also see more druzy here. Look at, you have little dendrites in this as well. And as we come back on this side, look at that. So you have wonderful classic chalcedony formations there. And you can see them here also. And then look at that wonderful, wonderful pink opal. And look at this whole layer, this whole layering here. So you have very distinct, two distinct formations of minerals. And opal has been broken out into opal AN, which is your amorphous opal. This is kind of what they call opal CT, which is opal with cristobalite and opal with tridymite. Two other forms of silicate opal. And so it's kind of difficult to figure out what is what sometimes. So you have to use generalities a lot of cases. So pink opal isn't just straight pink opal, it's pink, it's opal with palygorskite. You have in this overall piece cristobalite and chalcedony along with pink opal. It's a wonderful, wonderful mix, especially when you see the banding and the separation of all of those. Yeah, I know. Latif finding that quite interesting as well. Look at that. So this self-displays beautifully like right there. That's a wonderful, aesthetic, attractive angle. Price on this, how'd you know? It wasn't going to be that much, but you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah, so 260 grams, that makes it 1,300 carats. Yeah, 1,300 carats on that one. How about this? I'm going to make it affordable at only, yeah, that's a lot of opal to work with. Jeez, $138. I know. Latif wanting it to be more as it should be, but I'll hold the line on that. Let me show you. Oh, what have I got here? I know it should, like he said, yeah, it should be about $700. You are exactly right. Yeah. No, you're right. A piece that big, pink opal. This material, when I found it, it wasn't available. I had to search for it. I wanted it. I sought it out. It didn't like come to me by accident in an estate. I actually had sought it out a number of years ago. I wanted some, and so I was able to find it and work the deal. Let's look at that in 125-7325. 125-7325. And so I realized, though, at this point, all these years later, that I was not going to be able to work with all this material. So I am sharing it. Here we go. Look at this one. Look at this. Look at that banding of color. Let me put this one on the right place so I don't mix it up. And yeah, exactly. Here is, as a specimen, even if you don't cut, it's beautiful. Look at that. It's beautiful. So you have everything you would want in a pink opal specimen. Look at this. So you have palygorskite, you have the pink opal, you have, here we go. These are not just your everyday, yeah, I got marker on myself again, not your everyday just outside rocks. These are formations that have to do with cristobalite and palygorskite. And I'm going to let all of you do your research like I did. Here is, I think, probably the best display angle on this. You can see the banding of opal, how it was laid down kind of in a layered effect. But look at this. Look at the two colors. So here, this is going to be pink opal, technically as well, just has, remember, I told you the pink in this opal is formed from organic particles. I think they were called, I only saw it referenced once, but quinones. They, again, are like little radiolaria. And that's what gives it its color. Now, you're talking about blue opal is found, when it is found, which it's pretty much extinct now for the most part. So those of you that have blue opal bead necklaces from when I was selling them really inexpensively, they are now worth multiples wholesale of what you paid, and very difficult to get. Now, for those of you interested, buyer beware. Just like buyer beware on Sleeping Beauty turquoise, you have to either buy something from very reputable or know how to check and test to make sure you're just not getting blue glass. You want there to be imperfections. You want there to be other items in it that tells you it's not just glass. You don't want air bubbles in there. You don't want swirls. You want banded lines are okay, but not swirls within its own bead. So anyway, beware. Specimens would be harder to find or to fake, but they're impossible to find. I'm not really familiar with any blue opal in matrix like you're seeing here with the pink. There won't be many of these around because I was able to get these years and years ago. It's not readily found at all now, as far as I know. And if I was smart, which I'm often not very, when it comes to keeping things, which I've kept a lot, but how much longer can I keep them? I can't. I would still hang on to this because it's going to be worth a lot more than the only this. So I felt like I had to price it so everybody could afford a piece. This is way below the value of it. $68. I know, $68. Look at this. Look at this perfect band of cutting material, and then an incredible band of pink with the various colors. Beautiful cutting. Look at this. So this comes right. See this? It comes right to the surface. Right to the surface. You have some neat geological, well, almost, I want to say crystalline, but botryoidal formations on top of that. This is, look at that. Here's that same band on the other side. You can look at this. You can see other places of opal formations in this. I know a lot of you collect opal. This is a wonderful specimen. You see a little crystallization in there to clear. Only $68. Let's see. One, two. That's what we have. Those three. Now, okay. This next item, we're going to start off, and I had to have Asif. I sent him 2 pictures to pull up. So I'm going to show you one specimen first, and I am going to start with the least expensive and work up. What I'm getting ready to show you, I have never shown in the 17 years I have been on this show at Gem Shopping Network. I have also, this material wasn't even available 17 years ago. Okay, I'm going to show it to you first, and then I'll do a little talking. I'll try. So we'll start with the least expensive. I have item 12561. Let me make sure that's a 6120. Yeah, 1256125. And what I'm getting ready to show you is something we talked about the other day. And wow, okay, so first, for a moment, I'm gonna put this color-wise next to the pink opal, only because I love the mix of colors. Look at what I'm getting ready to show you. Don't pull up the graphic yet. Let me talk and give them the parsley on the plate first. Okay, so let me remove the pink opal. All these are natural color. Look at Mother Nature's amazing. Okay, so think in your mind what you think this may be before we pull it up and tell you what it is. It's something we discussed just the other day, and it's not so much what it is from where it is from, which makes it so unique and dynamic. All right, think in your mind, and then we're going to see if you get it correct. Let's show them what they have. Yes, Iranian demantoid. This is the Belkis Mountain. This is the primary deposit. Now, let me talk a little bit about the history of Iranian demantoid. We remember a lot of times this was a riot. It is referred to as Persian because of the stigma we have against Iran. And over all the years, going back to 1979, I remember year I graduated from high school, everything from the Iran-Contra affair to the captives, the 110 prisoners held at the embassy as captive all the way through Jimmy Carter's presidency, and only ended the day after he lost the presidency. And, you know, there's been so much, and still is, that even in mineral sites, they try to stay away from using the word Iran. So you'll see Persia used, and another one I loved. The dealer himself said that the person he has gotten them before says they're from Turkey. Yep, because they do not, even at the wholesale, even at the minor level, they try to claim they're from somewhere else in case the buyer has a big thing against Iran, a personal, whatever you feel. And like I said, minerals don't have political borders and shouldn't be political, but they're often caught up in everything from tariffs to bans like the embargo on Burmese rubies, And jade, same thing can happen and minerals can get caught up. Now, regarding you saw, or I don't know if you got to see the picture of, no, I don't think we pulled that up, but Miss Gabby happened to have a picture of two faceted, of course, referred to as Persian demantoids. They're Iranian demantoids. Now, the history of the Iranian demantoid garnet is an interesting one. You have the ones from the Kerman province that came and were found about 20 years ago. And those were the first demantoids. They were first thought to be and marketed as Uveravites. I mean, what a treasure it would be. Kind of like Raven's Uveravite from Outokumpu, Finland, which is amazing. They're very similar in color. But again, there was a chemical analysis done, and these contain chromium and iron, what is required to be demantoid garnets, not Uveravite. So that was the first thing regarding the demantoids coming from Iran around 2003, 2004, when that deposit was discovered. In around 2013, hundreds and hundreds of miles away in the northwest corner of Iran, another deposit was discovered, and on what they call Belkilis or Belkis Mountain. I guess that's pronunciation. I wouldn't, I'm a little, my Farsi is a little poor, so I'm not exactly sure if it's named after somebody, if it's an Iranian word. So, but that's the way it's spelled, with a Q. And normally here in the United States, it's followed by a U by way of our, most times in the middle of a sentence. But anyway, I want to show you the picture of where these are found. Asif, let's go ahead and make them really appreciate this deposit. Yeah, I'm going to show you. So I sent a picture of where these are mined so you can really appreciate what it took. Look at this. Okay. Oh, you have the arrow. Okay, show them the top of the mountain. There we go. So follow the arrow that Asif, I want to like walk up and draw on the picture, but it doesn't work that way. As you can see, there you go. In Takab County, West Azerbaijan province in Iran. There's the top of the mountain. You can actually see a little path I see to the top of it there to the right. You see that little, yeah, so does the path come down the mountain? Yeah, keep coming down the mountain. And let's see if it takes you to the deposit. Someone had to find this deposit. This is the actual picture of the mountain. There is nothing but dirt and gravel. And as you keep coming down the mountain, somebody at some point discovered, I want to walk up to the screen. That's so funny. Like I'm doing a presentation live. Look at those. Look at those. It says right there, the demantoid diggings, you can see. And those little areas in the side of that mountain, there's three. There's one above where it says demantoid diggings. You can see the little deposits above where they've been digging, and then the primary ones right below it where the arrow is that's moving. Look at that. Look at that. How in the world did someone just stumble across that deposit to start with? Then below that one, there's one other one. Awesome. You're so clever and good with these things. Okay, 2019. This is great. That's right. So he's going to show what the deposit looks like in 2019. Now, that is brilliant. Oh my gosh. In 2024, right? Is that what this second look is? So look at how many more going along the straight line, which would make sense of where the deposit lies. How many more areas have been dug out? And then you have these little spotty ones. But that's it. Overall, that's still not a large area. Oh, that was brilliant. Awesome. Thank you. You can see some people tried on the other side of the mountain, which would make sense as the deposit came through. Yep, those little white deposits. But you can see there's no major diggings there. You have three areas. That is it for the world supply of Iranian demantoid. Thank you, sir. Huh? Yeah. I know.
You were lost.
I know. Somebody got lost and hit it big time if they knew what they were finding. Could you imagine walking down there and all of a sudden finding these green gems sticking out of the side of a mountain like that? Yeah. Well, exactly. Many times, No water. You have to, more like a path almost. Yeah, there is a little green. Yeah, little moisture probably is found down in the gullies like that.
That's the mentor.
That's the mentor. There, they missed the spot. That's great. That's great. Look at that. I have never seen such a bold mountain. There's nothing on there. You have to take your own water up there. I don't even see a mule track up to that. Oh, okay. So that's a great shot right there. So that's 2019. Okay, 2019, and then boom. So for all those years in the United States, that whole mountain would be gone. I mean, you know, this is what's called artisanal mining. The individual miner actually is able to go up there and make some money. Now, as we go back and show you what that is, what they're digging, all that digging is for that. Is for that. Now, remember we talked about these also can have horsetail inclusions. And you can see there's little other. Now, the only other minerals found with this is diopside and vesuvianite. So these green crystals, these lighter green crystals you have are diopside. And I'll show you that in another specimen. Okay, did we pull up the graphics on this one? Here we go. All right, so yep, so you have diopside. These are the lighter green ones that you see around here. And when you look at them really close, you can see they're crystallized. This specimen, this is one I've made affordable for everyone. If you want something super rare, is only $78. Let's go to the next one. Only $78. I know. Let's see. That is such a deal. And awesome. I really wanted to show these on one of your shows. So 125, 58, 25. 125, let me make sure that's an 8. Nope, it is not. 125, 59, 25, Shawn. 125, 59, 25. Let me show you this next one. So like I said, I wanted to offer, well, again, why I have these, they're garnets. They were part of my collection, and I am parting with them. Let me show you. Look at this. So you saw how big that is. Let me compare the two so you get an idea of size comparison. Look at how large those crystals are. For that to be only $78, that is, well, really, really underpriced. Now, this specimen I love. When you get just an individual crystal that is beautifully formed like that, and that stands out. Yes. So Latif was just up looking close. The crystal formation is actually part trapezohedral, or trapezohedral and dodecahedral. So you get, it's trapezohedral, what they say, with dodecahedral modifications. And what that is, let me see on this one. I'll point out one of what they call the modifications. I don't readily see it on this particular one. So this is more trapezohedral, but they form, look at that. So it's just a really beautiful single crystal. Now, let me add some other backlighting to this and see if we can't look into this a little bit more. Look at those colors. So these are the only ones that are really emerald green. They have that emerald green color more than other demantoids, like the Madagascan demantoids. Those are a lot more yellow. The Namibian ones, those tend to be a lighter green and have a more of a mint green, often kind of color. The Iranian ones, these have that rich, very desirable green, but the facet grade quality is very rare to find. You can get these beautiful near facet grade, but to get anything facet grade, super rare. So these make stunning specimens. And of course, with the color, look at this. So you look carefully because you can find all kinds of other neat goodies, and even as small as they may be, look at this. They're going to be diopside, Vesuvian, or Vesuvianite, or more demantoid. Look at all these small green crystals in here. Many of them are going to be demantoid in that richer green color. The lighter green color is the very desirable diopside. But what I'm showing you is even when you think it's just matrix, it's often not. Look at that. See, look at all these. Look at that.
White calcite.
Yeah, there is calcite. There is calcite I found on these. Very good on that, because that's difficult to spot that as calcite. I can't believe you just said that. Wait till I show you the other specimen. Calcite isn't even listed as one of the minerals, but that is often found with them. But wait till I show you another one and you'll see the calcite. So look at these. Look at these. These are beautiful. When you look at the size of that crystal. So I have the size of the actual crystal. I have the size of the whole specimen at 3219, but then the actual size of the crystal, you get to see 9.3 by 6.8 millimeters. That's really, really large. I have a exceptional value on this one because remember, we're starting off at the least expensive, going up to the more expensive. And believe it or not, a nice single crystal like that is actually very valuable. This is only $88. $88 for the specimen. Yeah, I know. You're talking about one of the most, think about it, this is Iranian demantoid. How in the world, not only if you live there, how in the world do I wind up right here being able to offer these to you? That's how hard they are to find, extremely hard to find. I wouldn't have them if it wasn't going back in time for me to be able to have had these. You cannot find them readily now. There's all kinds of, what have we put on Iran? You know, embargoes, all kinds of, trade with Iran and anywhere else we have tried to halt because of their weapons program. So, you know, the little artisanal miner, the little guy that is willing to climb all the way up Belkis Mountain and dig for who knows how long to bring out a few specimens, you know, I'm not sure exactly. I think the price I'm offering these is well below the market. There's something else I want to show you before we get into the others that becomes really important. Asif, let's pull up the other picture. So I did a little research and I found some of these others being offered on your primary places that people do shopping on the internet. And I'm going to show you one of them. I took the picture and sent it to Asif, and he was wise enough to be able to bring to you a very important point that a lot of you would not notice this about this specimen. There's two things. Okay, where the hand is right now, you see that face of that crystal? What looks like a flat facet is not. You see the little dimple on it, the little raised that makes it uneven or convex? That appears like the remnants of a water droplet, right? So just picture that as if there was a water droplet on it. That's the look you would have. Let's go down to the other facet right there. Okay, look at that facet. And if we probably can you move back from the whole piece a little bit? I mean, yeah, move away from it. There we go. We get a better look at both of those areas we're talking about. So that one and that one on the right. Let's focus on that now. What you see there, that is not the way it would look. Look at the other flat facets. Right. There is no raised area. That is not the way these garnets form. Yes, exactly. Asif is spotting. You're right. You're right. I can see it on that. Yep. And that one. All right. Exactly. Once you start seeing what to look for, then you know. Okay, so the one he's got the hand on right now, that's an important one. What looks like the remnants of water. Okay, let's just say it is water and they took the picture real quick, right? And to give you that wet look. Well, once that dries, that specimen is not going to look anywhere like that. Except here's the worst part of the whole thing. That is not water. I know exactly what that is. It is a liquid called saw sheen. Saw sheen. Now, saw sheen is primarily used in the countertop business. If you have ever been to an actual countertop workshop, it is incredible. They actually use huge stone. They cut it, they polish it with these massive polishers. They will saw it with everything from diamond saws to lasers to cut them. And they polish them. But at the very end, after they're polished, even if you take a nice, let's say you got a granite countertop, there is going to be all these little tiny voids that are there that, of course, would be there in a granite. Nothing is ever perfectly non-porous and solid. Saw sheen is the final liquid finish that they will put on top of a polished piece, including a face on a crystal, as you see. And what it does, it gives you an incredible last moment complete, it really makes it pop and really makes it glow. Now that's a countertop. What it does on a mineral specimen is the same thing. It gives you a permanent wet look, but it's not the natural look. It is, I'm just going to use the word deceitful. It is deceitful. Now, no one would spot this except someone that is familiar with it. I used saw sheen many, many years ago on some quartz specimens that had a surface that it would have, yeah, you can see that now, that was greatly improved. When I saw the difference that saw sheen made, I quit using it. Yep. When I saw the difference that saw sheen made, I quit using it because I felt like it was not, it changed the representation of the actual specimen. That is what has been done on this piece. So now here's the bad part. They didn't wipe it all off. And here's the way you can tell, even if it's been wiped off, it will tend to congregate right at the very edge of the face. So even if you think you've wiped it all off, until it completely dries, it will, you can tell if it's done poorly to any degree. That is done really poorly because that's like gobbed on there. There's so much saw sheen on there. And that's why you can see the buildup on those particular facets or faces of the crystal. And yes, exactly, awesome. Exactly right. It is all over there. I wasn't going to go that far to say that. I'd rather you say it, but you are right. Here. Well, I can't show you, but right here. You can see it in between these crystals. Go to the fancy, the large diamond-shaped crystal on the big one, then go right up above it, go right straight up above it. Yep, that one. Now, right at the edge between that crystal and the one next to it. See, right? Let me see. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right where I wanted you to go. Okay, you can, right, exactly there and right up above the edge of that one. There you go. In between, you can see that. You can see the dried liquid or the liquid look. They overdid it. And what it does, it also fills in the little crevices in all those. Yes, exactly, Asif. Now you got it. You nailed it. All in there. That's why Asif is a host. That's why the man can do the job. That is exactly right. It is all over those areas. Yep. Now that you spot it, that's exactly. So you can see how this can completely deceive a buyer. And it gives it a valuable look of hundreds and hundreds of dollars more than what it really is. All right, that's a great job, Asif. Thank you. You were just as good as me standing up there and pointing and doing it. Okay, so here's another thing. It wipes out. You see these natural faces on here, these lines on the almost all of these. You didn't see that on those. It evens these up. That's why they use it on countertops. It gives you a look at all the striations on these. You didn't see that on any of those. That's because they're using saw sheen. Buyer beware. This specimen, I have it. It was only the $88, I believe. Now let me show you another one as we go up. Item number 125. I know, but I wanted to make it affordable for everybody. 125 60 25. 125 60 25. I know, and I'll never be able to get these again. I'll never be able to get them again. No one has them. No. Here we go. And this is exactly what you had said about the calcite, because this is one that shows it. Look at see the calcite crystals here. So yeah, you got this one right by saying about calcite and the others. This is a rare one. This actually has well-defined calcite crystals, and look at how beautiful these, and look at how large. Now, this face appears like there is like it's not complete, and yet it may be. It may be a complete face, just not having completely filled in. Maybe a little damage on that one. This one, perfect all the way around. No damage whatsoever. Now you can see this big one, of course, there would have been another portion to it. Now, here is a beautiful one that if you wanted to do some specimen preparation work, you could peel back some of, see this greenish material? You have diopside and may have some Vesuvianite in the back of here. Look at these. Now, as we come around, look at these beautiful calcite crystals. I think the calcite crystals really add to this piece. For those of you that like specimens with matrix, this is a unique one with that effect. Look at how large. So this is a really nice cluster showing off the incredible color of these demantoids. And, you know, the word itself is from a what they call Old German Demant, meaning diamond. And that's where the word demantoid originally stems from, an old German, if you know it, whatever that means. Price on this one, again, I don't even know, because there's no place else to compare much to, except if you go to the internet and find ones that you can't trust the pricing, because that's not really the way it looks. This is only $128. Only $128 on that. Let's go to the next one. This is item number 1256225. 1256225. That's why I said I didn't want anyone going and trying to get these ahead of time before you look and see them all, because they're all a little bit different and priced differently. Check this one out. I love it. Look at that. Look at the size of the crystal. Now remember, you know, don't think about clarity. This is something that, you know, it would be $20,000 if there was a something of clarity to where a stone could be cut from. Look at how big that is. I have the size of the crystal. It's 18 by 13. You know those sizes. That's a calibrated size. Look at the size of that. And here, so let me talk about, since we have a crystal like this, salt sheen. Salt sheen will, again, it's kind of like oil in an emerald. It will work its way into these openings and will mask a lot of these type fissures. So that's why I know these, I've had these there, and well, you can see there's been no treatments done to the surface, but I say that because almost all the demantoids will have this kind of inclusions in them, and a lot of the dealers will tend to want to improve upon that look by doing other things to the crystal that they shouldn't, and then they do not disclose it. Another funny thing, so I was looking at another on the web vendor that had one of these, and it said, for the origin, neighbor of Armenia. Yeah, I don't even think Iran touches Armenia, but basically, you know, no one, I didn't see a single dealer actually offering them as Iranian. They either use Persian, neighbor of Turkey, neighbor of Armenia. It was really kind of funny how they went around that. Look at all these other crystals in here. Okay, so androdite is the family demantoid belongs to. So you have the yellowish version is called topazolite, and you have those that are associated with the demantoids from Madagascar. So if they become a little yellowish, then they have a little bit higher, different iron content and are called topazolites. In the case of the demantoid, it has to have chromium and calcium in its makeup for the color, because an androdite is an iron chromium mineral. And that's how we could always tell the difference between a andradite, a green andradite, or a savorite garnet is by whether they are magnetic or not. And so I was actually looking, because that's probably big enough. I was going to see that, here it is. See if my magnet pulls that. Yep. So I can feel there's just a little tug on that. And so, like under grossular garnet, we have the family of the other member, hessonite is a grossular, savorite is a grossular. And in the case of andradite, we have demantoid. Now, there can be just plain andradite garnet, and I've sold lots of different, like the New Mexico and Arizona andradite garnets, or the Japanese iridescent andradites that have that incredible play of color on a brown base andradite garnet with the beautiful iridescence. So the family is andradite, and then the sub members underneath it are everything from the Japanese iridescent rainbow andradite to demantoid. And uvarovite is a completely separate garnet altogether. And they had to test these to make sure that they are straight up. Of course, if it was uvarovite this large, it would, even with the inclusions, it'd be worth a fortune. But so Iran originally was trying to say the other deposit was uvarovite, but no, it wasn't. So here's the amazing thing. Only a little over 10 years ago, in 2013, someone walked up the side of Belky's Mountain and discovered these. Only 12 years ago. Remember, savorite was discovered. It was a big deal. It's about the same time tanzanite, 1967 or so, in Tanzania and Kenya. That was huge to find a new gemstone like that in recent modern times. Same thing. These were only found on the side of the mountain 11 years ago, 12 years ago. That is crazy. That is crazy. I would love to have been the one. Well, maybe walk up with on the back of a mule or something. But yeah, that crystal is huge and very desirable, very collectible. There's extra ones on there. There's diopside on there. This is a fantastic, fantastic specimen from an area you just can't get them from anymore. With all the restrictions and put on Iran and trade embargoes and whatnot. Yeah, these, if I hadn't gotten them when I did, I wouldn't be able to get them now. So it's probably silly for me to offer them at all, but better me to offer them now than, again, not have the opportunity at some other point. I'm offering this one for only a crazy opportunity of only $168. I know, there's no reference point for what I should charge. I couldn't find any. The only one I did was that bigger specimen, and the price was too cheap. That's what first caught my eye. I said to myself when I saw the price, I said, why is this so inexpensive? Well, it didn't take me long to realize why. The whole thing had been gooped up with saw sheen. Let's look at item number 125. Let me loop this. 125, 6325. Yeah. So if anyone wants to look up saw sheen, Sawsheen. Did you look it up? Because Latif's like that. Latif always is really wise. He always looks up everything. I'm just not in the habit of it. Yeah. So learn as you go. That is how you do it, and how you wind up with knowledge is you just, when something comes up you're not aware of, you just look it up right then. So here we have, this is the last one of this batch. I saved a couple at home for myself, but this is the last one of the 5 that I'm offering. Let's take a look at it. Look at this. Wow. And that's why it's the most expensive of them. Don't you think that is Look at that. You have that incredible crystal of calcite. Let me get my pointer out. Let me put this away. And look at this beauty. Look at those. So you have these. Now, look at this. This is a perfect, you have little calcites in between. This is a beautiful crystal, this one. So you could peel back some of, if you want to do specimen preparation, but you don't need to. But you could, if you wanted to, peel back a little bit more of that. But here's the beauty. This, I want to show you, this one crystal is near perfect. Near perfect. Okay, here's a perfect example of what Asif showed you on that other piece when he was going between the crystals. If I put salt sheen right there in between them, that would look glassy, and it would make the what you see, the matrix, almost invisible. It would almost make it disappear by way of looks. By the way, you can take a sharp, even use a toothpick if you want to be really careful, and you can clean some of that out. But salt sheen would make that almost invisible. It's so look at these. This is, and by the way, also, there is no large specimens in general of demantoid, just like in the iridescent, Japanese iridescent andesite. Sometimes you can actually find matrix specimens, a little bit larger, 2 or 3 inches. But in the case of this Iranian material, what I've shown you is the largest I've ever seen of individual pieces and the matrix. I mean, that would be affordable. I'm sure there's museum quality. But here's the thing. I just have not seen any outstanding, stunning, what I would call museum quality specimens offered any place. Really, the nicest I've seen offered that wasn't doctored up is what I'm showing you right now. This specimen, it's the most expensive one I have. It should be. It's $188. Only $188. And Latif, I know it's less than what it should be. I don't know. I don't have any other reasons. And I regret every crystal I've ever seen. I've seen pricing on my Vesuvianite with the white grossular garnets on it that were like 1.5 inches, 2 inches high, maybe 1 inch across. If any of you bought those, this Vesuvianites, they're square when you look at them, and they're greenish yellow color and have white grossulars growing on the outside of them. If any of you bought those, I sold them here in the show, the live show maybe 10 years ago. They're worth a fortune compared to what I sold them for. I sold them for like $50, $60. You're looking at $1,000 to $2,000 pieces easily now. Anyway, this one, $188. Let me tuck that away. Let me see. I don't want to run my time out since we did get to start earlier. So I think I'm going to get in a full show for you today, which is fantastic. Okay. Yes, exactly. See, I wish they had pricing on ones like that. Yeah. So Latif just went to Mindat, which of course I tell everybody, all of you, to go to if you want to reference it. And if you go through Mindat, look, there's nothing big, is there? So he's looking through every picture of the Iranian demantoids, and none of them are any bigger than the overall size of what I'm showing you. Yeah, he's shaking his head yes. And that's what Latif does. He instantly goes and basically fact checks me for his own sense of education. It's not like he's checking my facts, but he likes to learn immediately for himself. And so what he did just go to, a lot of us expect a plate of garnet in mica schist, that extends a foot across, or, almandine garnets or something like that. That is not the case with these demantoids. You just don't find them in any large. So in my hand, this is about as large as you can expect a specimen, but that's impressive as can be. Look at that. And that's why I felt like that was the most valuable one. Now remember, I have no idea what I had in these. I have no idea what they're actually worth in the market because there wasn't anything available to price. Yep. So I just made sure it was well below what anything you could ever find, if you can find anything like it. Okay, let me keep going here because I have lots of more goodies, and probably when I get through this one box I have here. That'll be the end of it. I have something that all of you, and you, Latif, have never seen before. And this is, let me get the pricing. Let me start with the least expensive. This is going to be mind-blowing when you see what I am showing now. All right, so the guy said, well, hold it this way because the other one fell down, nothing happened to it, but we don't want that to happen anyway. I had a cheesy way to put it up there anyway, and I said, oh, I don't know if this works. Anyway, look at this. Basically, I want you to see the two colors, the blues, the greens. I want you to see that these are actual crystals, and the way they form is, look at this, like look at the little bridge even between there. Yeah, there's some delicatness to this. Not sure how it tastes, but it is stunning. It has a very metallic reflection to it, which of course it should. To think of this as mostly iron is really bizarre. To think that, you know, this is created from iron and of course phosphates in a bog. Easily you can understand how phosphates are present in a bog environment. And this, look at that, with like that little blue crystal coming off of there. This is a amazing looker, and in trying to get everything priced in a price for everybody, I have this one for, look at that. Offering this guy for $68. Only $68 on that one. No, it's a hardness of 1.5 to 2. So unless you were really, really careful, and it has perfect cleavage, they splinter really off really easy. I mean, and speaking of splintering, the last thing I would ever want to get is splinter that in my finger. Ouch. Item 125. Oh boy, those 6s and 8s. Let me make sure. 125, 68.25. 125, 68.25. As we kind of move up in what I consider more valuable. Again, I'm not sure exactly how these are priced. I just don't see them in the market. There's not that many that make it to market. Let me show you this beauty though. This to me, wow, is my favorite of the ones I have. Not necessarily the most expensive, maybe, I'm not sure. Let me show you. Look at this jewel. Look at this. Wow. Wow. Look at that. Isn't that crazy? And what you have here is siderite. Siderite, remember, being the iron carbonate? And this is the, that or ludlamite are really the only other minerals mostly you're going to find with this. So you can see with this would be the base of what, but then when you have these, it almost looks like this would be a floater because, but when you look close, let's go in close on these. I want to show you that it came off of another base that had siderite on it because you have the negative impression. Look at that. Isn't that really, really beautiful, Mother Nature, with the little botroids of siderite and then the negative impression of where the other side of them, where it came off. Now, you can see up here more siderite, which I think really adds to the piece. But look at that one crystal up there. And then look at that color. That is like a fine, expensive tourmaline color with incredible, perfect clarity, really. And, you know, like Latif asked, can you facet it? Well, it's perfect cleavage. So, and a hardness of only 1.5 to 2. I would imagine it'd be extremely difficult. I've never seen any faceted Vivianite, but I'm sure, knowing faceters, they have tried it, and they've probably accomplished it. Look at that. Yeah, because it's a challenge. And then look at that single crystal, how it has survived. I don't know. And you can see some of the bicolor nature to it. And when you turn it, it will change colors. It will change colors. You'll get blue reflections, green reflections. This is a spectacular piece. It's one of my favorites. And you can always expect some of the siderite crumbs to come off of it. Look at that. Look at that. That is stunning. Stunning. Price on this is also an exceptional opportunity. If someone wants in on it, it's only $148. I know, only $148. And with this single crystal surviving and being up there like that, wow. And I see blue in it now, whereas before it was just clear. So yeah, you get these really great mix of colors. Let me show you. Let's give you another opportunity. Item 125, 6725. 125, 6725. And let's see what we get in this treasure trove, because I wrap these up, of course, very carefully in special type of paper. Not really paper, but multiple layers of other stuff, put it that way. Let's look at this. Again, here is another one of my faves because of, oh, look at this spray. Let me remove that one. Look at this spray. That is beautiful. And then you have your siderite up here also. Now, as you turn this, that's when you really get to see the clarity and the colors in it. Look at the blues up here. And it's a piece. Let me actually backlight this on since I have this light. And let's see what we can show you with a lighting through the back of it. As I turn this, and you can see those beautiful greens, and then you get up into the thicker areas. You can see it, it just gets, it's still transparent, but it just gets so thick that the light makes it difficult to pass through. It's kind of like having to pass through individual crystals, the way these are formed, and they are. You can see there's multiple layering of crystals, but as you can see up here, you can see light passing through, and even from the other end, look at the blue and green in this. Now, as I turn it this way, and you get the light on the full facets, you can see blue reflecting at the same time as green. Look at that. This is what makes, look at the blues in that. As I turn the angle, that is like no other mineral I've ever seen. Look at, so this one, it's kind of unusual which way to display it. I guess this way up. I don't know, but what an attractive look. That does look great on its side. This one, how about a deal? Only, I don't know why it's such a deal, but it's only $128. I only have the price, $128. And remember, I just made these up. The price is $128. It could be $1,280. I have no real concept because nobody really has this available. I looked, I checked. Nobody really had it available. And the ones I did see were insanely priced. Remember, they have to get it out of the Amazon in one piece. They have to get this, you know, they don't, here, this is the fancy stuff I'm wrapping it up in, okay? This type of stuff. They don't have that in a tributary of the Amazon when they dig it out. So to get it to market, I think is a challenge in itself. Now remember, hardness 1.5 to 2, it's made up of iron and phosphate. So this isn't glass, this is different. Glass doesn't have cleavage. This is a more fragile type of material than glass, but you would treat this no different than a fine tourmaline specimen that is worth much more than this or anything else. So you just treat it with care. Now, I'm coming to, out of all the vivianite I have, what I consider to be the finest piece of the batch. And let me clean this off for just a moment. And let me bring in this guy. Check this out. Look at this. I loved this one. Look at every different angle. that you see. Did I give you the item number for this one? Look at the colors. Was that a yes or no? Okay, it is item number 125. Oh boy. It's got 2 6s, which could be 2 8s in my 1256625. 1256625. Look at this. Look at every angle. Now, the cool thing about this, it has ludlamite as well. As I turn this, see if you can spot the ludlamite before I point it out to you. All right, ludlamite is the only other associated mineral with this, but I want you to be able to see the greens, all these different other angles of the crystals as I turn this. It is phenomenal. Look at the blue. Look at the colors in this other bisecting crystal. Wait till I'll show you this. You can see siderites that, look at that. I think that's cool as can be. The negative impressions of siderite in the vivianite itself, not just the matrix. Look at the top of this. And I couldn't really tell whether this was almost a floater or this came off of the opposing section, since it had negative places in it. So I assumed that this was attached to another piece. Look at the termination, if that's what you want to call it. Now, again, these are growing. Remember, iron is going to be very present in a bog. So you have siderite, which is an iron carbonate, and then look at the greens. Look at all the angles that the color is coming out of this. This is phenomenal. Now, did anyone see the ludlamite anyplace? Ludlamite is another mineral closely associated to vivianite, depending on irons and the phosphates present. And ludlamite is a mineral that is a lighter greenish yellow color, most commonly seen as such. And there are 2 ludlamites on here that I have found. Oh, see the greens? Look how thick this is, but you can still see the greens way back in this piece. And this is a much sturdier piece to be able to hold, and it's not gonna put a splinter in you either. Let me just see something, because the uniqueness of the way light passes through these, because of the way the crystals form, light will pass all the way through, but it's almost like you have to catch a certain pathway for the light. Look at that, for the light to do so, because of the multiple growth of crystals together. I mean, that's me, armchair geology there. And there we go to show you that it is transparent. You can see color passing through this entire piece. Now this backside, maybe not so much. Wow, look at that. Imagine that if that was a big tourmaline. What a piece. But the vivianite, I can assure you, this quality vivianite is much more rare than tourmaline. This is how they would have even found this deposit. I have no idea. Someone traipsing around a bog. I'm not sure, but wow. This piece, okay, let me show you the ludlamite. This is so cool where it is. Look at that, tucked right down in there. Look at that. There we go. Oh, excellent job, Lati. There is the crystal of light greenish yellow. You can see it right there is a ludlamite. And then, where did I see another one? Right there is a ludlamite. How clever, huh? Of that ludlamite to hang out like that. So right there, right down in that pocket there, and there may be a third one, but you can find it yourself. I love this piece, and I have it priced. Yep, thank you, sir. Let me move that out of the way. Look at that. Look at that. Okay, so this is only $228. I already said it. Can't change it now. $228. And yeah, I don't know where I would get another one. So there you have it for those, but I'm not done. Let me show you item 125, 7125, 125, 7125. I said I had something for everybody, and let me show you. That being the case, something for everybody means cheaper than what I have already shown you, but I don't know if this should be any less expensive. Check this crystal out. This is a phenomenal piece, and Latifah's gonna love this one. Let me move this. Check that out. Look at that. Look at that perfect clarity. Look at that really beautiful bicolor nature to it. And this is $38. And I only made it $38 to make it affordable. The value of it, I would consider considerably more. And here is the other cool thing. See that? If you want to split those, it makes it easy. I bet that crystal would split right down the middle, right there, if you want to play with doing that. Look at that, $38. Wow. And now the last of the Vivianite, item number 1256925. 1256925. And that gets you this piece. Check this out. Look at this. Now I'll move that other one away just so you can see it. It's very similar to the other one, but it didn't come from it. You can see this one is wider. Isn't that neat? Look at that. That's like a pane of glass. It is. I have never seen any other mineral like Vivianite. It's like no other. Same price, $38. $38. Isn't that amazing? I think, and for this to form at room temperature in a swamp, in what they call pods, they're pockets, and it was originally perfectly clear, and when it hits the air, it oxidizes. It gets to the oxygen, which in the bog, it doesn't. And in the bog, there was enough oxygen from water to create the phosphate part and the hydrated part, the H2O on it. So, and of course, bogs are, always have an iron content due to the nature of a swamp. So, beautiful crystal there. Okay, let me take that away for a moment. I'll be right back. All right, you might have seen this last show. I had it out to showcase and never got a chance to. I haven't shown a wonderful crystal on a lighted base in quite some time. And this is a perfect specimen to do it with. Okay, we're going to look at these irises in a minute because this has got some world-class irises in it. This is a natural quartz crystal that the faces have been polished on. This actually, that could actually be a calcite formation in it, which can occur. I'd have to look a little closer, but beautiful piece. Now, I'm going to turn the external light off so you can see what it looks like lit. And look at that. So depending on what watt light bulb you use, this is just a 7-watt one. You can increase the brightness of it. You can put in a different color light bulb, but this would make a wonderful night light. Wow, I did not check this for anhydro bubbles either. So there's a chance that there's water bubbles. There's certainly water inclusions, which is the most common inclusion in quartz is actually water, and it's what creates many of the irises that you'll see in the piece. Now, let's turn the light on and let's look for some irises. And which shouldn't be too hard in this piece. This is a wonderful, look at this. Okay, so you can just start, and as I spin this, they will appear everywhere. I have enjoyed this item for some time. Look at this. Okay, so you can't even see that there's an inclusion there that would create an iris. And then all of a sudden, it becomes noticeable. But you don't even, look at that. You don't even know where or what is generating it. And look at that down in there. They are all over. Yeah, they're all over in this piece. And look at in the top. You have a little nick up there on. Look at that one. Look at that. Yeah, this is why I had it as my own piece for so long, because of look at the irises in that, and the potential is you can find probably a different iris every day in it. Look at that one. Look at that. Look at that. Who knew where that came from? I haven't even noticed that one before. This is what made this piece. Look at these. Unlike any others. That's why if you have a piece of quartz without any inclusions, you're not going to have an anhydrite. You're not going to have any irises. You're not going to have any rutile. You're going to have any other very cool inclusions that make quartz what it is. Pure quartz is boring. Look at these. It is only through inclusions that make it dynamic. Okay, look at this angle. Look at that. Yeah, Latif is going, wow. Because I told him it had irises in it, but we didn't see them at first when we had it on the underneath. I said, yeah, we have to light it from out externally. Look at that one angle. Look at that. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The entire face. That's pretty cool. That would be a great picture to capture right there. Look at that. Look at that. That is why this could really be called world class for the irises in it. If you collect quartz for irises, iris is the name given. It's the Greek goddess of the rainbow, where the name is derived from. And this would certainly classify as iris quartz. Look at that formation. It's just bizarre looking. And this is a really amazing iris piece with, look at that, so many of them. That, again, like I said, you could probably find a new iris point in it anywhere. I have this priced at a bargain. So I only have one more item to show you after this one. How about this? The entire item with the lighted box. You can see it's easy to be able to even change the cord out to a different one if you so desire. They're not expensive. They're for a few bucks at the hobby store, Michael's, or whatever you want to call it, if you want to get that or change it out. The key is the irises, and maybe you can use the box for something else, because look at that. You have irises in the top everywhere. This is stunning. Price only $248. $248. Okay, let me put that away. I'll be right back with the last item of the show. As the last item of the show, I had to make sure that it was a special item indeed. This is a relatively new discovery of fluorite. It was discovered in 2018, and of course in the world of gems and minerals, that is new. This is stunning in size. Look at my hand. So this is cabinet quality, cabinet size. And one of the most amazing things about this piece, and I showed Latif, but of course we can't ever bring it to you on camera in this particular form. It doesn't show fluorite and its fluorescence. This is remarkably stunning in its fluorescence. It is blue. It is one of the strongest fluorescent fluorites I have ever had. Look at the size of these individual crystals, okay? You know, a good inch or more. And look at the condition. Excellent. Many fluorites of this size the crystals end up dinged, chipped. This one, not so. This is in excellent condition. And then something else I didn't put on there, but you can see in a crystal like this, a phantom formation. So you have a formation let me get my pointer here, in the fluorite, and then you have fluorite, a secondary growth on top of that crystal. And you can see the differing colors in many of these with a darker rim or edge, showing a multiple stage growth, as you can see as we pass by that one, the couple of colors there. So if I was backlighting these, you would see that. And then wow, you even have, is that, yeah, look at that. That is really unique, actually. A clear fluorite, which brings me to one other item besides this I'm going to show real quick. It has to do with fluorite as well. All right, this one, 8.95 pounds. This is a large specimen. As we come down here to the bottom, look at this. The entire, if you want to call this the bottom, is fluorite. So I have it displayed in this stand this way. You can display it in any creative way you want. I have a sale price on this that is remarkable, remarkable for the size specimen that this is. One-time opportunity. This is from the Amarone Mania mine, or however way that might be pronounced. Almost 9 pounds. So it is an impressive piece and will look stunning in anyone's cabinet or entrance for it, or as a object of art on an end table, etc. This is a unique green. It's not like some of the other greens that you see and you instantly know, oh, that's from England, or instantly know, oh, that's a Chinese flight. This is unique for those of us that know the different greens. I love it. I love it. Especially, you're not going to believe this, $288. I kid you not, $288. And that is a size and deal that you won't find elsewhere. And to go along with this, and as the true last item on the show, item 1192824. 1192824. Here is what fluorite looks like in its pure natural state, which is a very simple formula. Look at this, clear, perfectly clear. This is the rarest color in fluorite that there is. Fluorite is allochromatic. It's like one of those, like beryl. In other words, in its clear form, it's goshenite, clear, in its pure form. Any other color takes an impurity. Chromium makes beryl green, turning it to emerald. Other impurities, manganese, turn it the pink or the red beryl that you see. But in its pure form, without any impurities, it's clear. And why it is one of the rarest. Here is an excellent example. Then look at these unique formations. There's dolomite associated with this. It is from the well-known deposits in Spain, the Asturias deposits, that are very well known for stunning fluorites. And, when you get really looking at this close, this is one of those specimens you can look at for hours. Let me get my pointer real quick, because when you start looking at ones like this, simple little, just a nice clear little cube like that, it is in, look at that. Can we get any closer? It's like a perfect, look at that. Yeah, even from a distance, I could tell. That's Mother Nature, the classic, perfect cubic form. And that's what this entire piece is, just beautiful cubes. And then you get these desirable ones that have the multiple cubic type surfaces. Look at these unique dolomites like this in a very unusual, look at that pocket back in there, formation to them. So this is a piece I consider, look at the clarity to that cube right there. Look at that. Really rare. And it is. Clear, colorless fluorite. A remarkable opportunity. And I have this sale priced at a remarkable opportunity. And I do mean remarkable. How does this grab you? I'm looking at what I offered this before. This is an amazing sale opportunity. $118. $118. We're going to finish the show at that opportunity. Take advantage of it. I'll be back with trivia in just a moment. I'm going to come up with another group of the what am I's. So it takes me time to gather them because I could just pull together all kinds of things to make it too difficult. Um, but we'll do that again. I enjoy doing that. I like to see how where you guys are at and how you view a specimen and how you get to other answers. Which, boy, I think some of your other wrong answers could easily be the right ones on some of these items. So, like the gem silica for the ammonite, I didn't even think about that, but yeah, it could be. It's just not usually associated with the smoky quartz and things. And like the sapphire, you have to think out of the box. Remember, if it's alluvial or rounded looking, it would make sense for a regular person to tumble that quality sapphire. So take that out of it. So if you put the alluvial part in, and then it removes a lot of other minerals. It could be like tanzanite and things like that. So yeah, I makes you think and helps me to know how you guys think. Okay, now a question I didn't answer was Mr. Anthony and his question regarding he got those turquoise eggs. Now, Mr. Anthony, I can assure you, those eggs have never had a treatment done to them. What they are is whatever they are. About your question as far as white turquoise or white buffalo turquoise, you could use the word as I have seen it commented as such, that white buffalo turquoise is a superfluous name given to something to make it sound more valuable and marketable than what it really is. Basically, there's no such thing as white buffalo turquoise. Turquoise is a copper aluminum phosphate. And what a lot of people don't actually realize that most of the turquoise, or what they're calling turquoise, there is actually a mineral called planarite. And it's just an aluminum phosphate, leaving off the whole copper end of it. And so it can contain your other, impurities. It can also still pick up blues and greens in the color. But a lot of turquoise, then, which is planarite, is treated. Both planarite and turquoise are hydrated. In other words, they contain water. And that's the problem with turquoise. Unless it's Sleeping Beauty, which is stable, almost all your other turquoise is very porous. And once it's brought out of the ground, it becomes, I could say, meta turquoise, or turquoise that is dehydrated. And why turquoise has to be stabilized? Because it contains water in its normal formula. And that water dries out, leaving, how many times have you had it, or those of you familiar with turquoise is so dry it can stick to your tongue, kind of thing. Therefore, it's stabilized and treated and can be made any color, as I've shown you those blocks of turquoise before. I'll get them out again in another presentation at some point. What you have there is the real deal, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'd rather have something genuine than not. Okay, the other thing about white buffalo turquoise is most commonly it's made up of a mineral called alunite, A-L-U-N-I-T-E, calcite, and quartz. Alunite, this is challenging me in my extensive memory of chemical formulas and mineral specimens, that I am losing a little bit if you don't use it, right? So haven't thought about alunite in a while, but it is a potassium aluminum sulfate. And in combination with the calcite and quartz, that material is often sold and represented as white buffalo turquoise. The other thing is howlite. Howlite, which can form as a white mineral with natural black spiderweb lines in it. And it is sold and represented as white buffalo turquoise. Basically, there is no such thing as genuine copper aluminum phosphate that's white. Copper aluminum phosphate is your turquoise formula. natural turquoise formula that is blue due to the copper content. And those other ones are ones that can be made blue and are very similar in their formula. So, you know, the difference between planarite and turquoise is copper. They're both aluminum phosphates outside of that. So, but that's a big difference. But something can be made to look like it has copper, in other words, dyed blue, as is so much the case with turquoise and treatments. What is natural turquoise in the market? If you went to try to find natural turquoise in Native American jewelry, which much of it is aftermarket or made overseas and whatnot, they're using treated materials, not natural as far when it comes to turquoise. So much terrible things are done to turquoise. It's probably one of the most treated gems. It's been around though for, you know, as long as like lapis has, and lapis hasn't even needed the kind of treatments that turquoise has gone through because it's stable. It doesn't dry out and fall apart when it comes out of the ground. So I can understand why they try to treat and stabilize turquoise for what they are, but they're trying to make it into something that it's not. It should be in its natural state. If it falls apart, then it shouldn't be used as a gemstone. Sleeping Beauty, yes. Other than that, as long as it's represented, or at least you know, just like corundum, you assume that it's been heat treated. Same thing with turquoise. Assume, yes, that word, that it has had a treatment to it, or that it's not turquoise at all. When it comes to genuine white turquoise, that's an oxymoron. There's no white turquoise. I don't care what they say. There's not. When it's exposed to the earth, it's good. Whatever it was to start with, if it was a whitish true turquoise, it's not going to be stable and fall apart. So, yeah. A superfluous name given to an item to market it, and that's it. Other than that, it's not going to be turquoise. So those eggs that you got, they're going to be as close to natural turquoise as you can get. That can even be yellowish, as in that one egg had a yellowish tint to it. So it is probably a copper aluminum phosphate, so technically a turquoise. Could have an iron content, could have a natural discoloration due to what was surrounding it in the ground. And, but you're getting the real thing. I would love for you to cut up some of those because I wanted to. I just never did. I'm dying to see which way you do it, you know, kind of like taking a hard-boiled egg. And which way are you going to slice it? You're going to slice it down lengthways, or are you going to cut it up in slices? Same thing with that. So have fun with that. And don't fall for anything that is said as white turquoise. There is natural spiderweb turquoise, and that is turquoise with the black veining in it, manganese oxides or metal oxides, to give you that look. But if someone tries to sell you something as being a copper aluminum phosphate as turquoise and it's white, it's not turquoise. It's something else. And, you know, again, I mentioned the allanite, calcite, quartz combination it could be, or the halite, etc. All right, now here is some questions I have for you for the trivia. Question number 1: what type of quartz is named after a Greek god? Okay, so basically I'm looking for the name of the god, okay, because that is the name given to the quartz. That's the easy one. Question number 2: what item was shown that gets its color from an organic source? What item did I show, or what mineral did I show that gets its color from an organic source? Question number 3: name the 2 origins of the amethyst that was shown. So I think I showed 2 different amethyst pieces. Name the 2 origins of them. In other words, country of origin. All right, so after the what am I's, I have some, I think, relatively easy ones there. Remember, once you get to the trivia questions, you can't go back and look or cheat or Google or anything else. So you can rewatch the show as many times as you want before you get to the trivia. Once you do get to the trivia questions, and that's when you just have to be on the honor system and answer them as such. Okay, so I'm thinking, what else did I not cover? What else I haven't done? And it's considerable. I gotta wrap those Vivianites up carefully. I have some new pricing on some items I'm going to hopefully get to feature next week. I'm also still going to do that presentation when I get to it on Graves Mountain, which is going to include the sale of some amazing rutile and some beautiful lazulite. So look forward to that. I just have a lot of items to enter to get it ready for you. Let me think. Anything else? Well, no, there always is. And again, I appreciate all of you. Someone take advantage of that big fluorite that's only $288. And the clear one, which is probably, I know it's much more rare, actually. And, I'm looking in front of me, the botryoidal amethyst pieces, some really neat things. So take advantage of them. I'm going to put together another great show for you next week. And I will look forward to seeing all of you then. Happy spring. The day that we're recording the show is the first day of spring. And not that I'm really ready for it, because Georgia is a long, hot summer. But we have a month or two where the weather's just right. And I'm going to get out with my metal detector, and I am going to search that chimney site that I found. I keep thinking about it. It's like calling me. So I look forward to that. All right. Thank you again, all of you, for your continued support. Let's have another fun show next week. So enjoy the time in between playing with all your rock specimens. Set aside time, get out the loop, get out your equipment, look into the specimens you already have, and make it your goal to try to find a mineral on one of them that you had never seen before. Believe me, they're there, just not looking hard enough. As Mr. Anthony found out when I told him that on his epidotes, there really were sphinx, and they were. He found them. So that kind of thing. Discover a treasure you didn't know was there. God bless all of you, and stay safe. See you next Monday. Cheers.